Chapter 27:18. Everyone instinctively retreated to the side, because they knew that with Qin Feiyang's strength, it was enough to deal with all of this. Moreover, Madman Beast Emperor, Wang Ming and Yang Li couldn't casually make a move. After all, once they made a move, their identities might be exposed. As for the white-eyed wolf, perhaps because it had been cultivating in seclusion, it had developed a lazy habit. Unless it was absolutely necessary, it wouldn't make a move. Qin Feiyang, be obedient and don't move, will give you a quick death. If you dare to resist, then you will die miserably. The group of people at the front stared at Qin Feiyang and laughed sinisterly. Without exception, they were all at the great perfection ninth heaven's realm. Die miserably, Qin Feiyang murmured. Was he a little sheep on the chopping board? Boom! His aura suddenly erupted. Courting death. The group of people was furious. They had already said it so clearly, yet he still dared to release his aura. Was he looking down on them? One of the burly men took the lead to rush in front of Qin Feiyang, his divine power surging out as he threw a punch at Qin Feiyang. He was at the great perfection ninth heaven's realm. Therefore, he had full confidence in this punch. Even if it was at the great perfection ninth heaven's realm, it would be able to kill him in seconds, let alone Qin Feiyang, who was at the great perfection ninth heaven's realm. Without a heaven-defying divine artifact, without a heaven-defying divine art, Qin Feiyang was just an ordinary person. You are the ones courting death. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly as he suddenly raised his arm and grabbed the burly man's wrist. The burly man was about to laugh at Qin Feiyang for overestimating himself, but he realized that the power coming from Qin Feiyang's hand was stronger than his. What was going on? Wasn't he at the great perfection ninth heaven's realm? Who gave you the courage to attack me, Qin Feiyang? Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with a cold light, his 5 fingers suddenly clenched, and with a crisp crack, the burly man's arm shattered on the spot. Blood dyed the sky red. The big man screamed in pain. However, there was no fear in his eyes, only resentment and greed. Kill! The others also finally arrived, their battle cries shaking the heavens. You're courting death. Qin Feiyang harumphed coldly. His godly power gushed out like a tidal wave. The 4 styles of the fire phoenix appeared. Rumble! A tremendous godly aura roared in all directions. Miserable cries rang out as dozens of people lost their lives. That's a supreme-grade divine art. The people behind him were shocked. What are you afraid of? As long as it's not a heaven-defying technique, he's just a clown. Another person sneered. That's right. We also have deity arts. Why should we be afraid of him? Everyone activate your divine arts. Kill. Immediately. Tens of thousands of deity arts appeared out of nowhere. There were perfect-grade deity arts, pinnacle-grade deity arts, and a few legendary-grade deity arts. However, he didn't see any supreme-grade divine arts. After all, these people were the real ordinary people. To them, a supreme-grade deity technique was an extravagant hope that was out of their reach. If you don't even have a supreme-grade deity art, how dare you call me a clown? Qin Feiyang was so angry that he laughed. The 4 styles of the fire phoenix crushed all the way. Puff! People kept spurting out blood. This was the backlash caused by the destruction of their deity arts. After a while, boom! Finally, the 4 styles of the fire phoenix was blocked by several legendary-grade deity arts. After all, the people who attacked now were all at the peak ninth heaven realm. Their cultivation was 2 small realms higher than Qin Feiyang's. Although the fire phoenix art was a supreme-grade deity art, it was only 1 level higher than a legendary-grade deity art. In other words, Qin Feiyang's overall strength was 1 level lower than those who had legendary-grade deity arts. Look! Even if he has a supreme-grade deity art, so what? As long as we work together, killing him won't be a problem at all. Seeing that the fire phoenix art was blocked, everyone was excited. Sigh. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Ignorance was too scary. Thinking back, even if he was at the ninth heaven realm, he could kill all the creatures below the imperishable realm, let alone now. Kill. Snatch his heaven-defying deity artifact. And that independent world. If we can get that independent world, then we'll be the god of creation. Haha, Qin Feiyang's cultivation is so fast. Maybe it's because of that independent world. Kill him quickly. Countless people rushed over. Their murderous aura soared into the sky. Qin Feiyong glanced over. Murderous intent also appeared in his eyes. Boom! With the emergence of a terrifying aura, Qin Feiyong's cultivation instantly soared to the peak ninth heaven realm. This was naturally the rising dragon art. Now, not only could this rising dragon art be activated twice a day, but it could also last for 2 hours each time. For him, the rising dragon art was already a trump card. And as Qin Feiyong's cultivation increased, the power of the 4 styles of the fire phoenix that was blocked also suddenly skyrocketed. Boom! The scene of destruction appeared again. What's going on? Why did his cultivation increase to the peak ninth heaven realm? Everyone was happy. They were even thinking about how to fight for Qin Feiyong's treasures after he died. And the appearance of this scene immediately caused them to fall into a state of shock. How dare you say that I, Qin Feiyong, am a clown? Qin Feiyong said coldly. The 4 styles of the fire phoenix attacked the crowd in front of him. Screams immediately resounded, and hundreds of people's blood splattered in the sky. Everyone was shocked. The cultivation of the peak ninth heaven realm, coupled with the sovereign-level fire phoenix art. It seemed that none of them was a match for this person. Who has a sovereign-level divine art? Someone shouted. I have it. I have it too. There's more. Qin Feiyong, your end is here. Hundreds of people rushed out of the crowd. They were all young men and women with extraordinary temperaments. There were more than 1 million people, and it was not strange that 100 people had a sovereign-level divine art. Moreover, this also showed how rare a sovereign-level divine art was in the divine prefecture. Because this was equivalent to 1 in 10,000. Only 1 in 10,000 people could have a sovereign-level divine art. Qin Feiyong looked at them one by one and said indifferently, looking at your appearance, you shouldn't be ordinary people. I'm from the 10th island of the Southern Dragon God Palace. I'm from the Eastern Dragon God Palace Island. Almost all of these people were from the Dragon God Palace. Only a few dozen people were from the Divine Prefecture's rich and powerful families. There were many rich and powerful families in the Divine Prefecture, and their foundations were extremely deep. Some of the big families' foundations were even more terrifying than the City Lord's palace. And a big family like this naturally had the ability and financial resources to obtain 1 or 2 sovereign-level divine arts. Qin Feiyong, I'll kindly advise you to stop resisting. Look at the millions of people here. Even if your means are heaven-defying, you're no match for us. Unless you activate a heaven-defying divine art and a heaven-defying divine artifact. However, you know the rules of hell. The consequences of using a heaven-defying divine artifact will be even more miserable. More than 100 people stared at Qin Feiyong and sneered. In other words, in your eyes, I, Qin Feiyong, have been relying on a heaven-defying divine artifact all these years? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Isn't that so? Without a heaven-defying divine artifact, what are you? I can kill you in seconds by myself. A young man in purple stepped out with an overwhelming aura. He then raised his arm and went straight for Qin Feiyong's head. So in your eyes, I, Qin Feiyong, am so unbearable. Qin Feiyong suddenly smiled. Don't act all high and mighty like that. Now I'll show you what a real genius is. The young man in purple snorted. That's right. If we also have a heaven-defying divine artifact, Qin Feiyong won't be able to show off all the time. A young man in black behind also said with disdain. Qin Feiyong looked at the young man in black and then looked at the young man in purple. He said lightly, fine, then let me see a real genius. After saying that, he raised his hand and punched at the young man in purple. The young man in purple's eyes flashed coldly. The big hand that was reaching for Qin Feiyong's head suddenly sank and punched at Qin Feiyong's fist. Boom! The 2 fists collided. Crack! The young man in purple's arm was immediately torn open. His whole body was also sent flying. Is this the strength of a genius? Qin Feiyong looked at the young man in purple in astonishment. The young man in purple didn't become angry out of humiliation. Instead, he had a superior attitude and praised. You are indeed as strong as the rumors say. Thank you for your praise. But don't talk nonsense. Let me see the strength of a genius like you. Qin Feiyong's face was full of impatience. Since you are eager to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The young man in purple smiled proudly. As divine power surged, a huge monster suddenly appeared in the sky. It was a giant golden beast with dense fangs and looked extremely ferocious. "Kill him!" the young man in purple roared. Roar! The giant golden beast suddenly roared and pounced at Qin Feiyong with bared fangs and brandished claws. "This is your supreme level divine art?" Qin Feiyong asked. "That's right," the young man in purple said proudly. "I see." Qin Feiyong nodded. He raised his arm and gently pointed at the void with his fingertip. Boom! Immediately, a terrifying invisible force emerged like a volcanic eruption. Void returning art. Another supreme level divine art? The young man in black and the others behind were shocked. Boom! The invisible force pounced on the giant golden beast. A loud explosion suddenly sounded. In the next moment, the two supreme level divine arts shattered at the same time. Puff! The young man in purple spat out a mouthful of blood. Qin Feiyong, on the other hand, relied on his powerful physical body to forcibly block the backlash from the shattering of the divine art. Even his body didn't sway at all. The strength of a genius. It's not that great. Qin Feiyong looked at the young man in purple and shook his head with a smile. Don't be arrogant. The young man in purple flew into a rage out of humiliation. Am I being arrogant? It seems that the one who has been arrogant is you. After Qin Feiyong finished speaking, the Void Returning Art and the Fire Phoenix 4 styles appeared at the same time. With monstrous power, they charged at the young man in purple. Battle Soul open! The young man in purple roared. A sword-shaped Battle Soul immediately appeared. It looked like it was made of gold and emitted a terrifying aura. At the same time, he activated the supreme level divine art again. Kill! Following his roar, the giant golden beast formed by the supreme level divine art, and the sword-shaped Battle Soul madly charged at the invisible force formed by the Fire Phoenix 4 styles and the Void Returning Art. Boom! However, with an earth-shattering explosion, the giant golden beast and the sword-shaped Battle Soul were shattered on the spot. Puff! The young man in purple spat out blood. His entire body was like a rubber ball as he flew out and fell in the void. Carry him away. Next! Qin Feiyong smirked and glanced at the young man in black and the others. Chapter 27:19. He was defeated just like that? The young man in black and the others were stunned. They thought that Qin Feiyong, who didn't have any godly spells or godly weapons, was nothing. However, he didn't expect that the result would also be a scene of utter destruction. It seemed that they had underestimated him. I'll do it. Looking at Qin Feiyong's provocative eyes, the young man in black took a step forward with a strong aura. Boom! He didn't waste any time and immediately used a supreme spell. Clang! There were 9 black swords. Although they were condensed from divine power, each sword looked like it was made of divine iron, and their sharpness could tear the sky and the earth apart. 9 Palace Sword Array. Every single one of these swords is comparable to an autarch-level divine artifact. Die! The young man in black sneered, and the 9 black swords instantly formed a sword array and charged toward Qin Feiyong. 9 Palace Sword Array? Qin Feiyong was stunned. It looked good, but unfortunately, it was not on the same level as Wang Ming's God-slaying sword array and Sky Destroyer sword array. 9 swords, is it? I'm sorry, but I have a total of 90 sword images. Every single sword image is comparable to an utmost exalt-level deity technique. As Qin Feiyong finished speaking, the Guan sword art was activated, and 90 sword shadows appeared. The young man in black's pupils shrank. The power of these 90 sword shadows was indeed comparable to a supreme weapon. I can crush you in terms of numbers. What else do you have to fight me? Qin Feiyong's face was full of disdain. Without any fancy sword array, he directly slashed at the 9 palace killing array. Boom! In just a moment, the so-called 9 palace killing array was crushed to pieces by the 90 sword shadows. Carry him away. Next! Qin Feiyong also spoke. He was incomparably indifferent, as if he had done a very simple thing. 3 supreme-grade divine arts. The young man in purple who had been seriously injured earlier had recovered. Looking at the 90 sword shadows floating above Qin Feiyong's head, he was in disbelief. He alone actually possessed 3 supreme-grade deity arts. Since when had this supreme-grade deity art become so worthless? Hurry up. Don't waste my time. Why don't you all come at me together? Qin Feiyong glanced at the 100 people and said indifferently. Arrogant. How arrogant. He actually asked them to come at him together. Everyone was shocked. How much courage did it take for her to say such words? After all, these hundreds of people were all top geniuses of the divine prefecture. They were invincible among the younger generation. But even so, Qin Feiyong still had a contemptuous attitude. Who could be a match for such courage? Boom! Qin Feiyong's words had undoubtedly infuriated the violet-clothed young man and the others. Fine. We'll grant you your wish. Everyone, let's kill him. The young man in purple. Roar. Clang clang. For a moment, divine arts appeared one after another, and all of them were supreme-grade divine arts. The void space and mountains. Just the aura released caused a doomsday-like scene. Go to hell. The young man in purple roared. The black-clothed youth was also brimming with killing intent. The 9 palaces sword formation carried a world-destroying sharpness as it charged towards Qin Feiyong. Boring. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Whoosh. Suddenly, more than 100 incarnations appeared behind him. As soon as these incarnations appeared, they all activated the Guiyuan sword technique. Immediately, there were more than 10,000 flaming sword shadows in the sky. Clang! 10,000 flaming sword shadows rushed toward them. There was no suspense. It was an irresistible situation. The young man in purple and the others' weapons were constantly destroyed. They were also sent flying one after another. In just a few breaths, they were all lying in the void. Their faces were pale and blood was gushing out. At this moment, the arrogance, disdain, and contempt from before were all gone. What was left was fear, awe, and panic. Especially when they saw the 100 incarnations behind Qin Feiyong. They were extremely shocked. What the hell were these? Each of them was exactly the same as Qin Feiyong's original body. Are you really geniuses? Qin Feiyong looked at the embarrassed group of people suspiciously. Hearing this, the young man in purple and the others could not help but lower their heads in shame. You so-called geniuses are indeed not bad. You are almost invincible in the same realm. But unfortunately you met me. In front of me, no matter how talented you are, you will become a fool. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Why are you so arrogant? Isn't it because you are lucky to find a few more supreme-level divine techniques? The young man in purple could not help but stare at Qin Feiyong angrily. You are wrong. He is not lucky. It is because he has a good backer. That's right. With Qin Badian and Lu Zhongyang as his backers, what can he not have? The group of people mocked and ridiculed. You don't think that these supreme-level divine techniques were given to me by the 2 ancestors, do you? Qin Feiyong was stunned. Isn't it? Don't tell us that you created them yourself. You have this ability. The young man in purple sneered. I originally said that you were fools, but now I feel that I am insulting the word fools. Qin Feiyong chuckled. They were really a group of frogs at the bottom of a well. What do you mean? The group of people frowned. Qin Feiyong said, You still don't understand? You are even worse than fools. Bastard! The group of people flew into a rage and took out their trump cards again, madly attacking Qin Feiyong. Not only are you fools, but you also don't know your own limits. It seems that I have really misunderstood the word genius in the past. If you are considered a genius, then mankind is really finished. Qin Feiyong's eyes turned cold. Speaking of geniuses, the lunatic behind him was the real genius. Boom! The more than 100 clones attacked and with absolute combat power, the group of people was blasted to the ground in the void. You think you are infallible and can defeat me, but little do you know that you are not even qualified to be my opponent. And I, whether it was in the past or now, have never regarded you as my opponent. Because I, Qin Feiyong's opponent, is them. Qin Feiyong pointed at the ancestral dragons. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed. The 7 ancestral dragons' eyes darkened. Even if these humans had the supreme-level divine secret art, they were still not Qin Feiyong's opponent. When the young man in purple and the others heard this, they could not help but be shocked. It turned out that, in Qin Feiyong's eyes, they were not even qualified to be his opponent. Although Qin Feiyong was a young man like them, whether it was in terms of means or state of mind, Qin Feiyong had far surpassed them. Recalling their previous attitude, even they felt that it was ridiculous. Among the younger generation, there is no one who can stop Qin Feiyong. On the mountain peak in the distance, the old man in straw sandals shook his head and sighed. Yes, his target has long been the older generation. I'm afraid it won't be long before even us of the older generation will pale in front of him. The old woman in green nodded. This is the state of mind. Qin Feiyong's state of mind has far surpassed his peers. His vision is not on the same level as the other young people. What he sees and thinks is naturally not something the other young people can compare to. I like this kid. The child standing next to them smiled. The old man in straw sandals and the old woman in green turned to look at the child. In the sky above the plane. Don't you hate humans? Why are you still hiding behind us humans? Is this how the ancestral dragons behave? Qin Feiyong looked at the ancestral dragons, his eyes full of mockery. The young man in red clenched his fists and shouted, "What are you waiting for? There are 1,000,000 of us. Even if everyone spits, we can drown him." That's right. Activate your divine arts and kill him together. It will definitely be a one-hit kill. The ancestral dragon, Silver Dragon, shouted. Yes, follow us and kill. The young man in purple roared. Boom! The supreme divine art was activated, and the golden beast roared out. If we don't kill him today, he will kill us. Everyone, it's time for us to work together. Follow us and kill him. The young man in black roared. Kill. The words of the two instantly ignited everyone's killing intent. Boom! More than 1,000,000 people attacked at this moment. Countless divine arts, divine weapons, fighting souls. They were like ants, densely packed and filled the entire world. The terrifying aura destroyed all directions. Working together to kill me? Qin Feiyong murmured as he looked at these people, his eyes full of disappointment. If these people were willing to show the courage and unity to fight against the dragons, no. There was no need for all of them. If only half of this courage and unity were needed, the humans would not be suppressed by the dragons to this extent. This was the classic example of a bully in one's nest. In front of the dragons they lowered their heads like ants, but in front of him, who was also a human, they wanted to kill him. These people. What was the use of having them? Boom! The actions of these people had undoubtedly aroused Qin Feiyong's murderous intent. Originally, he wanted to listen to the Beast Emperor's suggestion to take these people under his command and train them as the main force to fight against the dragons in the future. But now, it seemed that these people were definitely not worth his time to train. Training them was a complete waste of resources, time, and energy. These people, there should only be one outcome. Death. Swoosh. 3,000 clones were activated. 3,000 clones appeared behind him. Qin Feiyong shouted, I want everyone here to die. Understood. The 3,000 clones nodded, and the dragon souls roared out in unison. All of them to die. The Beast Emperor's gaze trembled. Didn't he say that he wouldn't kill them? Why did he suddenly change his mind? Frenzy secretly snorted. If it was me, I would also kill them all. Why? The Beast Emperor frowned. Look at them. Why didn't they unite when facing the dragons? They only know how to be a bully in one's nest. For people like them, living is a waste of air. Frenzy said with a face full of disgust. The Beast Emperor couldn't find a reason to refute these words. Because as the Emperor of the Dragon Slayer Palace, he had long seen through this point. Perhaps, the initial suggestion was a mistake. These people were not worth training. Chapter 27:20. Kill them all. Hearing Qin Feiyong's murderous words, not only the Beast Emperor, but also Yizhong and the other ancestral dragons trembled. There were 1,000,000 people and all of them were killed? Was he crazy? At the same time, the old man with straw sandals, the old woman in green, the little child, the burly man, the middle-aged man in gold, the enchanting woman, their faces also turned pale with fright. Kill 1,000,000 people? Even they didn't dare to think about it. What kind of young man was Qin Feiyong? Where did he find the confidence to say such big words? In their eyes it was simply a fantasy. With the strength of one person he was able to fight against 1,000,000 people. and most of them were in the Nine Heavens realm. Half of them were in the peak Nine Heavens realm. Every peak Nine Heavens realm had mastered at least the perfect level of deity technique. The young man in purple and his group even had supreme-level deity techniques. Such a huge force, other than the strongest of the undead realm, who had the ability to fight against it. Not to mention killing them all. At the same time, the million people in the sky above the plane were stunned when they heard Qin Feiyang's words. But then, their faces were full of cold smiles. He wanted to kill all of them by himself? He must be dreaming. There should be a limit to his arrogance. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? He said he wants to kill us all. Ridiculous. You want to fight against millions of us with just the strength of one person? You must be dreaming. No. This is stupidity, complacency, arrogance, and overestimation of one's own capabilities. Everyone, let's show him how small he is in the face of the power of unity. The young man in purple and his group laughed. The power of unity. Qin Feiyang looked at the young man in purple and his group. So you know that the power of unity is very strong. But why didn't you unite when facing the dragons? Let me ask you, what did Qin Feiyang do all of this for? Isn't it to destroy the dragons and take back the dignity that humans lost in front of the dragons? But now, you are helping the dragons to kill me, Qin Feiyang. Excuse me, are you still humans? Are you worthy of the souls who fought against the dragons and died in battle? Qin Feiyang roared. His words, sonorous, powerful, and resonant. Hearing these words, the Beast Emperor and the old man in straw sandals and his group fell silent. Even Yi Zhong lowered his head with a trace of sorrow on his face. Don't be fooled by him. It's because he's scared that he's using this trick to trick you. As long as you kill him, all the divine artifacts on him will be yours. Divine artifacts. If you miss this opportunity, you won't be able to find another one. And I believe you should be clear about Qin Feiyang's character and style of doing things. He is a vengeful person. Today you guys are his opponents. Once we leave the hell of the underworld, he will definitely kill you all. At that time he will have a divine artifact and a divine art. You can only die. The blood dragon ancestor dragon shouted. When everyone heard this, their bodies and minds trembled. That's right. No one can stop Qin Feiyang's revenge. Just like the major city lord mansions in the north, they were all robbed by this person. If we let him walk out alive, none of us will be able to escape. So everyone, don't be fooled by him. Follow me and kill. The purple-clothed young man roared. The giant golden beast raised its head and roared. It carried a surging ferocious aura as it pounced towards Qin Feiyang. If we don't kill him now, when will we? The black-clothed young man also roared. Kill. In an instant, everyone began to roar. Divine arts, divine artifacts, battle souls. Densely packed, they turned into a raging wave, shattering the sky and charging toward Qin Feiyang. At this moment, the sky was collapsing. The earth was also sinking crazily. Millions of miles of mountains and rivers were instantly razed to the ground, and the sky was everywhere. This scene was the end of the world. What a sad group of people. 1,000,000 people joining forces is indeed very strong. Any creature below the imperishable realm will only end up with their bodies crushed and their bones crushed. But do you think this is useful to me, Qin Feiyang? Wrong. Let me tell you. The more people there are, the stronger I, Qin Feiyang, will be. Eye of heaven, open. Qin Feiyang suddenly let out an explosive shout. The glabella of the 3001 dragon souls floating in the air immediately split open, and a third eye appeared. Not good. Yi Zhong's expression suddenly changed. Eye of heaven. If he opened the eye of heaven, then Qin Feiyang really had the ability to slaughter 1,000,000 people with his own strength, because the eye of heaven could copy all attack methods. No matter how many divine arts, no matter how many battle souls, it could be copied. And one had to know. At this moment, Qin Feiyang had also activated 3,000 incarnations. In other words, although Qin Feiyang was only one person because of the existence of 3,000 incarnations, the Eye of Heaven could copy 3,000 times more than this million people. For example, the golden beast formed by the purple-clothed young man's supreme divine art. Once it was copied by Qin Feiyang and his 3,000 incarnations, it would become 3,001 golden beasts. 1 against 3001. What kind of concept was this? Not to mention a massacre, it was simply an instant kill. Qin Feiyang, stop! Yi Zhong shouted. But it was too late. Qin Feiyang, who had the intention to kill, would not let go because of Yi Zhong. All kinds of deity arts and fighting souls were continuously replicated. All of you go to hell, Qin Feiyang muttered. With a wave of his hand, the copied divine arts battle souls suddenly turned into a frenzy, with the power to destroy the world, surging toward the sea of people in front of him. How is this possible? The purple-clothed young man and the others standing at the front looked at this scene with their mouths agape. Following closely, their faces, their eyes were filled with panic. Run! The black-clothed young man suddenly roared. But it was too late. Divine arts battle souls. In an instant they drowned in a flood. A miserable scream suddenly sounded, filled with despair and regret. Please let us go. No, the purple-clothed young man roared in horror. But it was meaningless. Hundreds of golden beasts pounced, instantly tearing him to pieces. These golden beasts were copied by the Eye of Heaven. In other words, it was equivalent to him dying under his own divine arts. Qin Feiyang, spare me. The black-clothed young man also knelt in the void and begged. But it was useless. A frenzy formed by a divine art instantly rushed over, and the black-clothed young man's blood splattered across the sky. Not even his divine soul was left. No, please, we know we were wrong. Looking at this scene, the people behind could not help but feel despair. There were even people who were already fleeing. Qin Feiyang was not human at all. Divine arts battle souls. How could a human copy all of them? Massacre. This was a merciless massacre. The whole world was filled with blood and corpses at this moment. Painful screams, helpless cries for help were incessant, resounding throughout the world. This scene made the various ancestral dragons tremble. This scene made Yi Zhong limp on the ground powerlessly. This scene made the straw-sandal old man and the others feel their hair stand on end. Besides the white-eyed wolf, Frenzy, and the beast emperor, no one would have thought that the outcome would be like this. 1,000,000 people. Such a terrifying force was actually single-handedly massacred by one person. There was no way to fight back. This Qin Feiyang, this heaven-defying battle soul, the Eye of Heaven, it was simply invincible. The massacre lasted for hundreds of breaths. 1,000,000 people were slaughtered. Only a small portion of them fled into the forest of gods and devils. The broken ground below was already blood-red, and corpses were piled up like a mountain. The smell of blood was pungent. Looking from afar, it was even more terrifying than Azura hell. The scene was dead silent at this moment. Whether it was the various ancestral dragons or the straw-sandal old man's group, they were all silently watching all of this. But in their hearts they were overturning rivers and seas. He really did it. With the strength of one person, he massacred 1,000,000 people. Such means such strength. Looking at the current world, who could compete with him? The Eye of Heaven was already heaven-defying enough, but he actually had 3,000 clones. Wasn't this like adding wings to a tiger for Qin Feiyang? With 3,000 clones and the Eye of Heaven, he was invincible. Amazing, amazing! The Eye of Heaven is indeed a heaven-defying battle soul. An exclamation sounded. The one who spoke was the middle-aged man in golden clothes. He stood at the edge of the cliff, looking at Qin Feiyang in the sky above the plain from afar, his eyes full of fear. The enchanting woman lying in his embrace had already stood up. She was also looking at Qin Feiyang with fear in her eyes. How could there be such a crazy young man in this world? He was already so strong at the Nine Heavens realm. Then when he broke through to the imperishable realm, thinking of this, the woman couldn't help but shiver. Once this man broke through to the imperishable realm, even if he was only a half-step imperishable realm, he was enough to pose a huge threat to these veteran supreme experts. What a terrifying young man. On the other side, a trace of reverence appeared on the expressionless face of the burly man, who was over 2 meters tall. Powerful. On the other side of the mountain, the straw-shoe old man took a deep breath, looked at the old woman and the child, and said, "If nothing unexpected happens, this man will definitely become the strongest in the ancient world in the future, and even we will have to bow down to him." Yes. The old woman nodded. That depends on whether he can grow up or not. Because what he did today will definitely arouse the most intense killing intent of the dragons. When he returns to the divine land, the dragons will definitely kill him at all costs. After all, he's too much of a threat. His two ancestors, Qin Badian and Lu Zhongyang, are nothing compared to him now. The child shook his head. The straw-shoe old man and the old woman nodded. If they were the dragons, they would also immediately think of a way to kill Qin Feiyang. Even if it would greatly damage the dragons, they wouldn't hesitate. Chapter 27-21. Even Beast Emperor and Wang Ming couldn't help shuddering in fear when they saw this scene, let alone the ancestral dragons and the straw-shoe old man. He killed more than 1 million people just like that. This character, this method, could be said to be universally shocking. They had always thought that although Qin Feiyang was talented, he was too benevolent and righteous, and would not be able to achieve great things. Only now did they realize what kind of person Qin Feiyang was. Benevolence, righteousness, and righteousness. He only gave them to those who deserved it. He would not show any mercy to those who deserved to die. On one hand he was righteous, and on the other hand he was decisive. It could be said that such a person was almost perfect. But in the face of all this, Qin Feiyang himself was unperturbed. Swoosh! Qin Feiyang took a step forward and landed in the sky above the 7 ancestral dragons. Sensing the terrifying murderous aura, the 7 ancestral dragons couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts. Do you want to kill yourselves, or do you want me to do it myself? Qin Feiyang looked down at the 7 of them and said coldly. Hearing this, the 7 of them were instantly enraged. He was a dignified ancestral dragon revered by the world. He actually dared to use such a tone and attitude in front of them, however. At the thought that it was Qin Feiyang, they were filled with helplessness. Whether it was in the past or now, Qin Feiyang had never shown them the slightest bit of respect. With their status and strength, they could make anyone lower their heads and fear them. Only in front of Qin Feiyang was they not allowed to do so. At this very moment Qin Feiyang had the right to speak to them in such a manner. This was because Qin Feiyang was so powerful that they were powerless. At least in hell, they no longer had the power to resist. Publicizing hell and setting a trap to harm me, this is a good plan. Unfortunately, not only did your plan not succeed, it allowed me to grow. Speaking of which, I have to thank all of you for allowing me to break through to the 9th heaven's realm in such a short time. Take your own lives as a token of my gratitude to you, Qin Feiyang said. Good. You're amazing. But don't forget. It's because we're in the underworld king's hell that we can't display our full strength. That's why you have the right to be arrogant. The red-clothed young man shouted. Only now. When I was in the divine land, I didn't see you guys that powerful. The white-eyed wolf laughed mockingly. Whoosh! All the ancestral dragons looked at the white-eyed wolf with cold glints flickering in their eyes. What are you looking at? Isn't that the truth? Initially, in the North Sea, all 10 of you ancestral dragons were mobilized. The revered dragon even personally took action. But in the end, all of you were seriously injured. Later, you pretended to be Lin Yi's master in the plains outside the Dragon God Mountain range and lured us into a trap. But in the end, you reaped what you sowed and lost 4 heaven-defying divine artifacts. After that, we fought in the inland sea. I would like to ask, when have you ever won against us? Even if you only win once, I admit that you're good. But do you have it? The white-eyed wolf looked at the 7 of them playfully. Nonsense. Back in the inland sea, if it weren't for Qin Badian activating the law of time and space to save you, would you be able to escape alive? The red-clothed young man roared. But that time you lost 6 heaven-defying divine artifacts, while we escaped safely. Isn't this a victory for us? The white-eyed wolf said. The red-clothed young man stared at the white-eyed wolf with anger rising in his eyes. Where did this wolf cub come from? Not only does he know everything, but he also seems to be more arrogant than Qin Feiyang. Don't dawdle. Hurry up and kill yourself. We still have to go to the mythical forest. The white-eyed wolf waved his claws and said. The ancestral dragons looked at each other with a murderous glint in their eyes. Boom! Almost at the same time, they unlocked their suppressed cultivation. Half-step immortal realm. First stage immortal realm. First stage immortal realm. First stage immortal realm. In the blink of an eye, they recovered their first stage immortal realm cultivation. The power of the Nether King Hell's laws also descended. But the 7 ancestral dragons turned a blind eye to the rule force and went straight to Qin Feiyang. Their terrifying aura destroyed all directions. Obviously, they wanted to kill Qin Feiyang before the rule force descended. A bunch of stupid things. Qin Feiyang's face was full of ridicule, as if he had already expected such a thing to happen. Swish! He retreated like a bolt of lightning. Although his speed couldn't be compared to the current 7 ancestral dragons, the rule force descended very quickly. As long as he dodged a little, the 7 ancestral dragons would be obliterated by the rule force. Die! The 7 ancestral dragons chased after him with a strong cold light in their eyes. Soon they would be able to kill Qin Feiyang. But at that moment the power of the rules crashed down. Accompanied by a miserable scream, the 7 of them were immediately obliterated by the rule force. Aren't you courting death? The white-eyed wolf shook his head. When the rule force dissipated, Qin Feiyang stopped in the void and looked coldly at the place where the 7 ancestral dragons disappeared before looking at Yizhong below. Yizhong sighed and said, "You don't have to do it. This old man will do it myself. I didn't say I was going to kill you. Moreover, if I were to make a move on you, I would really be deceiving my master and destroying my ancestors," Qin Feiyang said. "Don't say such nice words." Yizhong shook his head. "I'm serious. There is a good saying, a teacher for a day, a father for life. Although in today's world, this sentence is a bit exaggerated in my eyes, you've never been an enemy. It's still the same sentence, my door is always open for you," Qin Feiyang said. Yizhong was silent. But in the end, he still chose to end his own life. Boom! The old man's body suddenly exploded in the void, and a terrifying wave of air instantly flooded all directions. He self-destructed and died. Seeing that the situation was bad, the Beast Emperor and Wang Ming quickly rushed in front of Qin Feiyang and released their divine power to block that terrifying wave of air. Sigh. Qin Feiyang stood in front of the wind and couldn't help but sigh. Why were they so stubborn? No matter how he tried to persuade them, it was useless. Were the dragons really so good that they were worth risking their lives for? Suddenly, Qin Feiyang looked at the Beast Emperor and asked, "Do you know if Yizhong and Long Zun have any special relationship?" Special relationship? The Beast Emperor was stunned and shook his head. "I really don't know." Qin Feiyang asked suspiciously, "Then how did he and Long Zun know each other?" The Beast Emperor thought for a moment and said with a smile, "Speaking of which, there are many stories." "What stories?" Hearing this, the madman and the white-eyed wolf immediately looked at the Beast Emperor curiously. The Beast Emperor said, "I heard that when Yizhong was young, he pursued Long Zun." What? Qin Feiyang, the madman, and the white-eyed wolf looked at each other. This was really big news. That was a long time ago. Yizhong and Long Zun were still young, just like you guys are now. And at that time, Long Zun hadn't married the dragon god yet. It is said that at that time, Long Zun turned into human form and entered the mortal world to train, and met Yizhong. At first, they were still a pair of enemies. They fought whenever they saw each other because they didn't like each other. But as time passed, Yizhong seemed to have slowly fallen in love with her. However, because Long Zun deliberately hid it, Yizhong didn't know that Long Zun was a divine dragon. And because of his personality, Yizhong didn't confess. And then, Long Zun and the dragon god married, gave birth to a son and a daughter, and became the leader of the dragons. It is said that at that time Yizhong was still upset for a long time. Then one day, Long Zun finally discovered Yizhong's feelings for her. Perhaps because she felt guilty, Long Zun gave Yizhong a lot of resources, as well as unparalleled power and status. And the Dragon God Palace was founded by Yizhong at that time. The following situation is, as you can see, Yizhong has been following Long Zun. Long Zun is also very good to Yizhong, and the degree of trust she has in him is even higher than the great ancestral dragons. The Beast Emperor said. Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned and couldn't say a word for a long time. After all this time, Yizhong was protecting his beloved woman? The madman looked at the Beast Emperor and asked, "Are you sure this is true?" Whether it is true or not, the Beast Emperor pondered for a while and shook his head. Whether it is true or not, this emperor is really not sure. But all the great ancestral dragons said so. Qin Feiyang said. "Then have you asked Yizhong himself?" "Yes. But Yizhong didn't mention a word about this. Long Zun has never mentioned this matter either. The Beast Emperor said. Qin Feiyong pondered for a while and said, "It should be close. If that is the case, then convincing Yizhong will be more difficult than we imagined." The madman said. Qin Feiyong nodded. "I didn't expect this old man to be such a loyal person." The white-eyed wolf's eyes flickered as if he had discovered a new continent. "We can't make a conclusion too early. When there is a chance, let's find Yizhong and ask him about it. Next, let's prepare to enter the God-Fiend Forest." Qin Feiyong looked at the God-Fiend Forest. This was a place they had to enter. If he could comprehend another nomological law, he would undoubtedly be more confident when facing Ice Dragon and Small Beast in the future. "What about the others?" Wang Ming asked. "The others?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. "There must be some people who haven't rushed to the God-Fiend Forest. Should we take the opportunity to catch them all?" Wang Ming said. Qin Feiyong nodded in realization and waved his hand. "There's no need for that." With that said, Qin Feiyong looked at the surrounding mountains and rivers. He was more concerned about the hidden supreme experts. Where would these people be hiding? "Old Witch, Little Fiend, do you feel that Qin Feiyong seems to know that we are hiding nearby?" The straw sandals old man frowned. "How is that possible?" The old woman in green shook her head. "No. Look at him now. He seems to be looking for something?" "Think so. Even if he doesn't know that it's us, he must have guessed that there are people nearby." The straw sandals old man said in a deep voice. The old woman in green and Little Fiend frowned. Looking at Qin Feiyong's current expression, that was indeed the case. Chapter 27-22. Wait. Suddenly, Little Devil Child reached out his hand and asked, "Don't you think it's strange?" "What's strange?" The two old men looked at him in surprise. The Nether King's ferocious beasts are spreading the news that the Forest of Gods and Demons has a heaven-defying treasure and the power of laws. "Don't you think it's a conspiracy?" Little Devil Child frowned. "A conspiracy?" The eyes of the two old men trembled. "You mean to say that Qin Feiyong is the one controlling all of this and Qin Feiyong's goal is to kill all of these people?" The old woman asked in surprise. "I don't know. But I have a feeling that the truth isn't as simple as it seems." Little Devil Child shook his head, his eyes flashing. Above the plain, Qin Feiyong adjusted his state and looked at the Forest of Gods and Demons again. "Let's go," the Beast Emperor said. "Then I'll wait for you at the square." "Okay." Qin Feiyong nodded. Whoosh! The Beast Emperor immediately turned into a stream of light and landed on the bluestone path, then disappeared into the Forest of Gods and Demons. "Let's go." Qin Feiyong waved his hand and led Madman, White-Eyed Wolf, and Wang Ming into the Forest of Gods and Demons without looking back. But just as Qin Feiyong and the others entered the Forest of Gods and Demons, a blood-haired youth came and landed above the plain. This person was Li Feng. The flesh and blood essence of 1,000,000 people. This can't be wasted. Li Feng, hurry up and absorb it. These people are all at the ultimate God and 9 heavens realm. Absorb their flesh and blood essence and it'll be enough for you to enter the 9 heavens realm. Sanguis immediately appeared beside him and roared excitedly. "Okay." Li Feng nodded and looked at Qin Feiyong's back. He landed in the middle of the plain and absorbed it crazily. The flesh and blood around him turned into blood qi and rushed into his body. "What? He's absorbing the flesh and blood essence of these people?" When the old woman and the others saw this, their pupils constricted. However, Qin Feiyong and the others who had entered the mythical forest did not notice it at all. Because the moment they entered the divine demon forest, everything outside seemed to have been cut off. He couldn't hear any sounds from the outside, nor could he sense any aura from the outside. This place is indeed a domain of its own. Madman scanned the area in front of him, his eyes filled with surprise. There were clusters of ancient trees and vines everywhere. Thick piles of dead branches and rotten leaves were piled up on the ground. The surroundings were also deathly silent. At a glance, the entire forest was filled with a cold and mysterious aura. The Beast Emperor said that the Forest of Gods and Devils is shrouded in an invisible force. One can only enter but not leave. Why can't I feel this power? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. If you can't feel it, then feel it for yourself. Wang Ming smiled slightly, then turned around and raised his arm to reach out at the edge of the void. Immediately, his expression froze. Sure enough, his fingertip came into contact with an invisible force in the void. How is it? Qin Feiyang and the others also turned to look at Wang Ming. Yes. Wang Ming nodded. It can't be? The white-eyed wolf raised his paw skeptically and reached into the void. In the end, his expression froze. There was indeed an invisible force in the void. When did Li Feng and Blood Spirit appear? Suddenly, Yang Li exclaimed. Li Feng? Hearing that, everyone raised their heads to look at the plains and was stunned. This brat really doesn't learn. Seeing that Li Feng was absorbing the essence of the flesh and blood, Wang Ming couldn't help but frown. Let him be, Qin Feiyang said indifferently. He also stretched out his hand and pressed against the invisible force in the air. This invisible force was colorless and had no aura. If one didn't know beforehand, even if they stood in front of it, they wouldn't discover it. For living beings who didn't want to enter the divine demon forest, it was truly a fatal trap. Because by the time they discovered this invisible force, they would already be in the divine demon forest and wouldn't be able to leave. Since we're here, let's take things as they come. Let's go, Madman urged. Not only were they not afraid at all, they were full of anticipation for the unknown divine demon forest. Right away, Qin Feiyang, Madman and the white-eyed wolf turned and strode forward. Let's go too. Yang Li looked at Wang Ming and said. But Li Feng, Wang Ming frowned. Are you stupid? Can't you tell? Yang Li shook his head. Wang Ming was slightly stunned and turned to look at Yang Li suspiciously. What do you mean? Then let me ask you first. What was young master's reaction when he saw this scene? Yang Li said. Aren't you asking the obvious? Didn't you see that young master's reaction was very calm just now? Wang Ming rolled his eyes. Then let me ask you again. Why didn't young master burn the mountain of corpses and sea of blood before entering the divine demon forest? Yang Li asked again. Maybe he forgot. Wang Ming hesitated. Forgot? Yang Li shook his head and patted Wang Ming on the shoulder. Brother, you've been with young master for so long. Why don't you understand him at all? With that said, Yang Li descended toward Qin Feiyang and the rest. Wang Ming was stunned. He glanced at Sanguis and Li Feng before turning to catch up with Yang Li and whispering, Can you make it clear? It's very simple. Young master deliberately left this for Li Feng. Yang Li said telepathically. What? Wang Ming was shocked. In other words, young master knew that Sanguis and Li Feng were hiding nearby. Although young master was somewhat dissatisfied with Li Feng's actions, since these people were already dead, it would be a waste to burn them. He might as well fulfill Li Feng's wish. Yang Li said to himself. I see. Wang Ming was enlightened. So you have to carefully consider young master's thoughts in the future. Yang Li said. Yes. Wang Ming nodded. An hour later, Qin Feiyang and the rest were already tens of thousands of miles deep into the divine demon forest. Given their speed, it was naturally impossible for them to be so slow. After all, given their cultivation, it would only take them a short while to cross tens of thousands of miles. This was because they did not dare to move too quickly. This was because they knew nothing about this place. If they were not careful and encountered danger, they would not be able to think of a way to deal with it immediately. Furthermore, in this divine demon forest, they could not fly and could only move forward on foot. However, they did not know if it was because they were lucky that they had not encountered any danger until now. However, when the group passed by a small valley, they realized that there were many footprints at the entrance of the valley. Why are there footprints? The white-eyed wolf was astonished. Are you stupid? As early as the second day when we arrived at the plains, more than 100 people entered the divine demon forest. Furthermore, there were also many people who escaped into the divine demon forest previously. I noticed at that time and estimated that there were at least 50 to 60,000 people. The lunatic said. So many? I really didn't notice. It seems that even if we enter the divine demon forest, we won't be too bored. The white-eyed wolf laughed sinisterly and swaggered into the valley. Qin Feiyang and the rest exchanged glances and followed in. The valley was about a few miles long and was filled with gravel and weeds. However, they did not find any traces of people in the valley. However, there were still many footprints on the ground. These footprints were messy and disorderly, as if they were left behind by a hasty escape. Qin Feiyong and the rest followed the footprints and searched all the way. In the end, they found a crack that was several meters wide at the back of the valley. In the crack, more than 30 people were huddled together, pale and trembling. They seemed to be very scared. The white-eyed wolf walked to the crack and the 30 people laughed. "What are you hiding here for? Don't kill us. We really know that we were wrong. Please give us a way out." Dozens of people looked at Qin Feiyong and the rest and begged. Qin Feiyong and the rest were stunned. They thought that these people were so scared because they had encountered something terrifying in the divine demon forest. They did not expect that it was because they had discovered them that they had fled and hid here. However, Qin Feiyong did not know that in the eyes of these people, he was even more terrifying than the divine demon forest. In their eyes, Qin Feiyong could be described as a devil. He had killed millions of people in one fell swoop. This person's terrifying means was unprecedented and could be said to be shocking. The white-eyed wolf came back to his senses, bared his teeth and said, "Who do you think you are? We won't kill you just because we said so? Then what do you want?" One of the burly men said with a bitter face, "What do you think? I believe you also know our means. For people like you who take the initiative to court death, we will definitely not be polite." The white-eyed wolf said. Hearing this, dozens of people curled up in the crack, their faces full of despair. "Enough." Qin Feiyong glared at the white-eyed wolf and looked at the dozens of people. "I don't want to talk about the past anymore. Let me ask you, you have been in the divine demon forest for so long. Did you encounter any danger? You really won't kill us?" The dozens of people stared at Qin Feiyong in a daze. "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. Thank you. The group of people was grateful and climbed out of the mountain one after another. The burly man took a deep breath and looked respectfully at Qin Feiyong and replied, "We encountered danger." Qin Feiyong and the others looked at each other. Frenzy said, "What danger?" "Not long after we entered the divine demon forest, we encountered 3 giant beasts. Their strength is simply too strong. At that time there were more than 2,000 of us together. But even if we joined forces, we could not defeat them." The burly man's face was full of fear. That's right. They all had supreme-level deity techniques and deity artifacts, and they were extremely strong. More than 2,000 people were swallowed alive by them, and only the few of us managed to escape. It's too terrifying. If I had known, even if I died outside, I would not have come to the divine demon forest. The 30-odd people all had terrified looks on their faces. "Giant beasts," Qin Feiyong muttered. It seemed that what the beast emperor said was true. They could not be careless in the divine demon forest. Otherwise, if they were not careful, they would die here. Chapter 27-23. What do these giant beasts look like? Wang Ming asked. "They're the same as the beasts we usually see, but there's a strange mark between their eyebrows." The burly man said. "Mark?" Qin Feiyong and the others were slightly stunned and asked, "What mark?" The burly man said, "It's a blood mark." "Blood mark?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. He thought it was the kind of skull mark, because the beasts outside also had this kind of mark. But unexpectedly, the giant beasts here had some kind of blood mark. What did the blood mark represent? Roar! Suddenly, a deafening beast roar sounded. Qin Feiyong and the others were shocked. They quickly jumped up and landed on the top of the mountain and looked down. They saw 3 giant beasts stepping into the valley and walking toward them step by step. With every step they took, the ground would crack. The whole valley was shaking because of their arrival. Their gazes were also constantly scanning the surroundings, as if they were looking for something. "It's them." The burly man and the others jumped to the top of the mountain. When they saw the 3 giant beasts, they immediately exclaimed, "Keep your voice down." Wang Ming glared at them, but it was too late. The 3 giant beasts had already heard the exclamation. They raised their heads and looked at Qin Feiyong and the others on the top of the mountain. The 3 giant beasts were a giant leopard, a giant tiger and a giant lion. Their bodies were dozens of meters long, and their hair was black. Their eyes were like millstones, emitting a shocking murderous light. There really was a blood mark between their eyebrows. But at first glance there was nothing special about it. It looked dim. As for their cultivation, it wasn't very strong. Like Qin Feiyong and Lunatic, they were also at the 9th heaven stage. Run! But even if they were only at the 9th heaven stage, the burly man and the others couldn't help but feel afraid. They turned around and jumped down the mountain, disappearing into the forest below without looking back. Isn't it just 3 beasts at the 9th heaven stage? Is there a need to be so afraid? The white-eyed wolf was speechless. In this group, half of them were at the 9th heaven stage and 2 of them were at the 9th heaven stage. Such a powerful lineup was actually afraid of 3 beasts at the 9th heaven stage. It was really strange. Wang Ming turned to look at those people and said in a deep voice, "The more they are afraid, the more terrifying these giant beasts are. We can't let our guard down because of their cultivation." But before he finished speaking, he saw the madman rush out with a whoosh. The corner of Wang Ming's mouth instantly twitched fiercely. What a fearless person. Previously in the plains, the limelight was stolen by Qin Feiyong. I didn't even have a chance to perform. So all of you don't interfere now. I want to see exactly how strong they are. Madman laughed loudly and released his aura to attack the 3 giant beasts. The 3 beasts looked at Lunatic. Lunatics. They actually dared to take the initiative to attack them? Big Tiger, he's challenging our dignity. Go and get rid of him. The giant lion laughed, its eyes filled with ferocity. The giant tiger bared its fangs and let out a fierce roar. Its ferocious aura erupted like a volcano. Then, it was like a sharp arrow piercing through the air. Its speed as fast as lightning. Boom! In just an instant, Lunatic and the giant tiger met in the valley. As the two clashed, a destructive shockwave surged out. Boom! The valley was razed to the ground in an instant. The surrounding ancient trees and mountains were also collapsing and shattering. Amazing! Lunatic laughed. The giant tiger's body and strength were not weaker than his. You have to know. His physical body and strength had been strengthened just like Qin Feiyong's. To put it bluntly, with the strength of his body, even those at the 9th heaven stage were not his match. But this giant tiger was on par with him. You're not bad either. A little human can have such a strong body. After the giant tiger finished speaking, its huge body stood up. Then, its whole body pressed down, and the 2 thick claws in front slapped at Lunatic. Don't look down on me. I'm not like those humans you met before. Lunatic smiled coldly and threw out another punch. The fist and claws collided. Lunatic and the giant tiger were both pushed back. However, while retreating, Lunatic turned his foot and forcefully dispelled the impact. Then while the giant tiger was unprepared, he rushed up and kicked the giant tiger's head. Roar! With a painful howl, the giant tiger flew out like a meteor and smashed into the ground in the distance. With a bang, a giant pit appeared. No way! The giant lion and leopard looked at this scene. Their eyes filled with disbelief. This is battle awareness and adaptability. Just based on these 2 points, you're not on the same level as me. Lunatic looked at the giant tiger proudly. Roar! The giant tiger roared and rushed out of the giant pit. It rushed at Lunatic, as if it was angry out of humiliation. You can't? Lunatic raised his arm, stretched out his index finger, and shook it lightly. His face was full of contempt. The giant tiger roared again and again. Its 1-meter-long fangs emitted a terrifying light. Rushing in front of Lunatic, the giant tiger pounced and bit at Lunatic's head. Its bloody mouth, not to mention biting off Lunatic's head, could even swallow him alive. Heh! The madman grinned and dodged. Then he kicked the giant tiger's head from behind. However, at this time, a hint of mockery flashed in the giant tiger's eyes. A set of black armor suddenly appeared on its body. It looked like it was made of fish scales and emitted a faint light. This change was completely out of Lunatic's expectations. Lunatic kicked the armor, and there was a deafening sound of metal. Lunatic didn't show any mercy, but because of the armor, it didn't cause any injuries to the giant tiger. When the madman kicked the tiger's head, the tiger also slapped the madman's body with its paw. The result was obvious. Lunatic was sent flying like a rubber ball and crashed into a mountain ridge in the distance. Boom! The mountain ridge collapsed on the spot. Many of the bones in his body were broken. Wang Ming and Yang Li looked at each other. This giant tiger actually knew how to trick people? On the surface, it looked like it had lost its mind out of humiliation, but in fact, it was waiting for an opportunity to trick Lunatic. Is this your battle awareness and ability to react on the spot? That's all there is to it. The giant tiger laughed disdainfully. Boom! Lunatic rushed out from the ground and arrived in front of the giant tiger at lightning speed. Looking at the armor on the giant tiger, he said, "Supreme Divine Artifact. Little thing, you're very naughty. How is it? You're not so arrogant now." The giant tiger's eyes were full of ridicule. Not arrogant. Sorry, arrogant is synonymous with this daddy. Little thing like you, this daddy can kill you with one slap. As Lunatic spoke, he really did slap it. You're courting death. The giant tiger was furious. He was already wearing a supreme armor and still dared to look down on it like this? He really didn't know what death was. Boom! It raised its claws angrily. Those claws were bigger than millstones and aggressive, as if it wanted to slap Lunatic into meat paste. Seeing that they were about to collide again, a set of blood-colored armor suddenly appeared on Lunatic's body. The next moment, one man and one beast clashed. Bang bang bang. Whether it was the giant tiger or Lunatic, every punch hit flesh. And although the blood-colored armor on Lunatic's body wasn't a divine artifact, it was transformed from a supreme divine art. In terms of strength, it wasn't inferior to the giant tiger's armor. Boom! After dozens of exchanges, the giant tiger was once again smashed to the ground. Even the armor on its body showed signs of being broken. The blood-colored sword on Lunatic's body was already at its limit, but his situation was much better than the giant tiger's. Are you convinced? Lunatic said proudly. Are you still human? Your body and strength are both so strong. The giant tiger got up in a sorry state and looked at Lunatic angrily. Strength and physical body were also its trump cards. Even a ninth heaven's great perfection cultivator couldn't withstand its strength. But at this moment, the human in front of it wasn't inferior to it at all. Of course I'm human. As for body and strength, who said that humans are weaker than you beasts? My level isn't much. The person with the truly powerful body is still standing there and hasn't made a move. Lunatic said. There's someone stronger than you. The giant tiger was surprised. The giant lion and the giant leopard were also stunned. The three beasts looked at Qin Feiyang and the others not far away. Who could this person with a powerful body be? Of course it couldn't be Qin Feiyang. Although Qin Feiyang's physical body was also strong, compared to a certain person it was still lacking by quite a bit. This person was Wang Ming. Wang Ming's body was truly powerful, and even the transformed blood demon couldn't compare to it. Back then, they were both ninth heaven's great perfection cultivators, but Blood Gang as a blood demon was directly suppressed by Wang Ming. One could imagine. How strong was Wang Ming's body and strength? You so-called infinite strength can show off in front of others, but you have no advantage in front of us. It seems that the giant beasts in the forest of gods and demons are only associated. Lunatic shook his head. Haha. Hearing this, the giant tiger, the giant lion, and the giant leopard were stunned for a moment before they burst out laughing. Their laughter was full of sarcasm. Lunatic glanced at the three beasts and said, "It seems that you're still hiding some extraordinary skills? Come, show it to me. Human brat, do you know the consequences of being arrogant in the forest of gods and demons?" The giant tiger said. "Then do you know the consequences of being arrogant in front of me?" Lunatic asked in return. Good. You're really arrogant. However, you've made a very serious mistake. Even if the blood demon comes to the forest of gods and demons, they have to lie down obediently. Boom! The giant tiger roared. Its body actually expanded with the wind, and in an instant, a giant tiger that was 1,000 feet tall appeared out of nowhere. Chapter 27-24. Is it useful to become bigger? Madman mocked. You'll know soon enough. The giant tiger smiled sinisterly and charged forward. Whoosh! A shocking scene appeared. The giant tiger's speed was several times faster than before. So fast. Madman was surprised. The giant tiger's current speed was definitely comparable to a ninth heaven's realm cultivator. Pay the price for your arrogance. Almost instantly, the giant tiger rushed in front of Madman and slapped him with its paw. Humph! Madman snorted coldly, raised his arm and punched out. Divine power surged and shattered in all directions. Boom! However, at the moment of collision, Madman's arm was lacerated and blood flowed out. Moreover, even Madman couldn't block that terrifying power. He was sent flying and smashed into the ground in the distance. How is this possible? Qin Feiyong and the others were dumbfounded. Who knew Madman's strength better than them? Even if their cultivation was higher than Madman's, they would only be abused, let alone those of the same realm. As if something had suddenly happened, Wang Ming said in bewilderment, "Young master, quickly look between its eyebrows." Between its eyebrows? Qin Feiyong looked at the giant tiger's eyebrows and was stunned. The originally dim blood character mark between the giant tiger's eyebrows was now glowing with a bloody light. Was the giant tiger's change related to the blood character mark? Swish! At the same time, the giant tiger rushed in front of Madman and looked at him lying on the ground with blood flowing out of his body. It sneered. Still so arrogant? Madman grinned and slowly got up. He licked the blood at the corner of his mouth and looked up at the giant tiger. You really surprised me. The giant tiger frowned. At this point he still dared to be so arrogant. I'd like to see how fast and powerful you are. Madman took a step forward, his divine power surging as he punched at the giant tiger. The giant tiger was extremely disdainful. With a wave of its paw, Madman was sent flying again, his body covered in blood. Not bad. This power is almost comparable to the blood demons at the peak of the Nine Heavens realm. Madman got up again and nodded. What? Qin Feiyong and the others were shocked. This giant beast was only at the Ninth Heavens realm, but its strength was comparable to a blood demon at the perfection Ninth Heavens realm? Isn't this too outrageous? Blood demon race? They're just trash. The giant tiger's eyes were filled with disdain as it charged at the madman. You are indeed very strong, but saying that the blood demon race is trash makes me very unhappy. Madman chuckled. Clang! A blood-red square seal appeared. Sovereign-level divine art, blood demon seal. As soon as the demonic blood seal appeared, it expanded with the wind. In an instant it was like a towering mountain, blasting towards the giant tiger. Roar! The giant tiger roared. The gigantic body was sent flying by the blood devil seal. Its flesh was lacerated, and blood and flesh splattered everywhere. Bastard, how dare you injure me? The giant tiger was enraged. With a loud clang, a giant black sword soared into the sky, tearing the sky apart. This was a supreme being level killing technique. Waves after waves of terrifying sword chi flooded the area with an earth-shattering force. Clang! Following closely, the giant black sword shook in the sky, sword energy crisscrossing as it slashed towards the demonic blood seal. The demonic blood seal shattered on the spot. The giant black sword charged towards the madman. A fatal crisis appeared. Heh! The madman grinned. As his divine power surged, a demon statue appeared. Roar of the blood demon. Roar! The demon statue roared into the sky. A destructive sound wave surged forward like a tide. With a clang, the giant black sword shattered. The sound wave swept across the sky and instantly submerged the giant tiger. Roar! The giant tiger roared in pain. The sound waves were like sharp blades that constantly sliced its body. Blood and flesh flew everywhere. Not good. This person is not the human we encountered before. He is very strong. Quickly help! The giant lion roared. Roar! At this moment, the giant lion and leopard roared and charged towards the madman like lightning, and at the same time, the blood word mark between his eyebrows emitted wisps of blood light. His body suddenly began to expand with the wind. In less than an instant, the bodies of the giant lion and leopard had also expanded to more than 1,000 feet. Their ferocity was monstrous. It is indeed related to the blood word mark. Qin Feiyong mumbled. I will go and help him. Wang Ming took a step forward. Facing 3 giant beasts, even the madman would not be able to withstand it. No need. Senior brother madman can handle it. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Huh. Wang Ming was stunned. Qin Feiyang laughed. He hasn't even used his most powerful demonic blood domain. That's right. Wang Ming patted his head in realization. Besides, there are still the 5th and 6th forms of the demonic blood 6 forms. To be honest, I really want to see how powerful the 5th and 6th forms are. Qin Feiyang whispered. The madman had created the 6th form in the ancient city of Qingyu, but no one knew what it was. However, if the 4th form demonic blood domain was so powerful, then the 5th and 6th forms would definitely be extraordinary. Human, go to hell. In the blink of an eye, the giant lion and leopard charged towards the madman together with the giant tiger. Clang! Also, the giant lion and the giant leopard also summoned a piece of armor. And the 2 armors were also supreme-level divine artifacts. You guys know. The madman shook his finger and the 3rd form, bloodthirsty Demon King, appeared. The Demon King was 10,000 feet tall, wearing blood-colored armor and holding a heavenly halberd. Its murderous aura was overwhelming. Kill! Following the madman's low shout, the bloodthirsty Demon King immediately raised the heavenly halberd and an apocalyptic aura erupted. Immediately, the heavenly halberd descended from the sky and slashed towards the 3 beasts. The void collapsed on the spot. The surrounding ground also trembled violently under that terrifying aura and sank crazily. Seeing this, the giant tiger also immediately activated the supreme-level divine art, and the black giant sword appeared again. The giant lion and leopard looked at each other. As divine power surged, 2 giant beast shadows appeared. This was also formed by the supreme-level divine art. Clang! Roar! The black giant sword destroyed everything in all directions. The 2 beast shadows roared in the sky and charged towards the bloodthirsty Demon King. Clang! The heavenly halberd was suddenly blocked in the sky. The 4 supreme-level divine arts crazily collided. The destructive aura was like a torrent drowning the world. Aren't you very arrogant? Still looking for help? The madman looked at the giant tiger with ridicule. Less nonsense. The giant tiger shouted coldly. Crack! Facing the crazy bombardment of the 3 supreme-level divine arts, the heavenly halberd finally shattered. The 3 beasts were overjoyed and the 3 divine arts attacked the bloodthirsty Demon King. Blood Demon Domain. The madman spoke. A blood-red barrier suddenly appeared in the sky and then crashed down, enveloping the 3 beasts inside. At this moment, whether it was the cultivation of the 3 beasts or the power of the 3 supreme-level divine arts, they all instantly fell by a large amount. What? The giant tiger and the other 2 beasts were shocked. 3 little worms, how dare you challenge me? The madman smiled proudly. The bloodthirsty Demon King raised its giant fist and punched towards the 3 supreme-level divine arts. Crack! Boom! The black giant sword and the 2 beasts were instantly shattered in the void. Immediately after, the bloodthirsty Demon King's fist punched towards the 3 beasts. From afar, the fist of the bloodthirsty Demon King was like a mountain, terrifying beyond compare. Roar! The 3 beasts suddenly let out a miserable howl and smashed into the ground below. Rumble! Dust billowed and 3 large pits appeared. The madman waved his hand and the dust dissipated. He walked over and looked at the 3 beasts lying in the pits. He joked, "How is it?" The 3 beasts looked at the madman again with a trace of fear in their eyes. The person in front of them was indeed not comparable to the humans they had encountered before. "Don't just lie there, get up, get up." The madman squatted on the ground and waved at the 3 beasts. The 3 beasts got up in a sorry state and looked at the madman suspiciously. Chapter 27-25. Blood light surged into the sky and condensed into a 10,000 zhang boundary. The boundary was blood-red. A terrifying and monstrous evil aura shrouded the world. It looked like it was condensed from blood. However, although it was full of evil aura, Qin Feiyang and the others didn't feel any powerful aura from the blood prison. What's going on? Wang Ming muttered. If the 4th style blood demon domain was so powerful, then the 5th style would definitely be heaven-defying. But why didn't it feel so powerful? The white-eyed wolf shouted. Look at the reaction of the giant tiger and the others. Huh. Hearing this, Qin Feiyang and the others immediately looked at the giant tiger and the other 2 beasts trapped in the blood prison. They found that the 3 beasts were terrified at this moment, as if they had encountered some fatal crisis. and they seem to be unable to move. If you beg for mercy now, I can still consider letting you go. The madman looked at the three beasts and said. The three beasts were motionless and didn't speak, but their eyes were full of anxiety. It was as if they were imprisoned and wanted to speak, but couldn't. Aren't you very arrogant? Why can't you even speak now? The madman's face was full of ridicule. It seems that this blood prison should be similar to the emperor prison. Qin Feiyang whispered. You mean this blood prison has the ability to imprison others? The white-eyed wolf asked. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded and said. But it's definitely not as simple as imprison. The white-eyed wolf raised his head and looked at the blood prison, agreeing with Qin Feiyang's words. If this blood prison only had the ability to imprison, then it could only be regarded as ordinary. The madman waved his hand and the three beasts in the blood prison suddenly felt light. Beg for mercy? The madman asked again. Human, if you dare to kill us, I guarantee that you won't be able to walk out of the forest of gods and demons alive. The giant tiger roared. Haha, do you think I'm scared? The madman laughed. Crack. All of a sudden, inside the blood prison, patches of blood lightning emerged. They were densely packed and looked like tiny blood-red snakes that slithered about inside the blood prison. The fear in the eyes of the three beasts grew even stronger. Speak. Do you want to beg for mercy? Madman shouted. What's wrong with this little lunatic? If you want to kill me, just do it. Why are you being so long-winded? The white-eyed wolf frowned. Did he have to force the other party to beg for mercy? Are you crazy? Don't you know Madman's personality? He must have a reason for doing this. Let's wait and see. After Qin Feiyang finished speaking, he silently looked at the three beasts in the blood prison. The three beasts looked at the blood lightning with extreme fear. I'm really curious. What kind of threat does the blood lightning pose to them? So fearful. Wang Ming whispered. Won't you know once you enter? Yang Li smiled. He was actually very curious. From the outside, there was nothing terrifying about the blood prison. However, the inside seemed to be different. None of you are saying anything? You're quite stubborn. The corners of Madman's mouth curled up. With a wave of his hand, the blood lightning instantly turned into a frenzy that surged toward the three beasts. Don't. We'll beg for mercy. The three beasts' eyes trembled as they hurriedly cried out. Heh. Madman smiled proudly. The blood prison dissipated as he said, Then come down. This. Qin Feiyang and the others looked at each other. What on earth was going on? Was this blood prison really that terrifying? The strength of the three beasts was obvious to all. Even a great perfection ninth heaven's realm cultivator wasn't their match. But now, Madman had only opened the blood prison, but he had already turned them into little lambs. It was really puzzling. The three beasts obediently landed in front of Madman. Madman said, Shrink your body a little. It's strenuous to look like this. Hearing this, the three beasts' bodies immediately shrank and returned to their original appearance. Let me ask you, where on earth did this blood word mark come from? Madman said. Temple. The giant tiger lowered its head and said honestly, Temple. Madman was stunned. Qin Feiyang and the others also rushed to Madman's side. Hearing the giant tiger's answer, their faces were also full of doubt. The temple is the holy land of the forest of gods and demons. If even we can't set foot in it, don't even think about it. That's right. The temple is the forest of gods and demons, a place that absolutely cannot be desecrated. You'd better put away that little thought in your heart. Although you're very strong, you're nothing compared to the guardians of the temple. At the mention of the temple, the three beasts' eyes were filled with reverence. There are guardians of the temple? Madman was surprised. That's right. Every single one of these protectors is extremely powerful, Lin Fan said. The giant tiger said proudly. If you didn't say it, I wouldn't be interested. Now that you say it, Madman grinned, his meaning self-evident. Wang Ming looked at the three beasts and asked suspiciously, Since even you don't dare to set foot in the temple, how did the mark between your eyebrows come about? Actually, we don't know either. Where did it come from? The giant lion shook its head. You don't know? Didn't you just say it was because of the temple? Wang Ming frowned. It's because the temple isn't fake. But back then, I was brought to the temple by the guardians. As soon as I entered the temple, I fainted before I could see anything. By the time I woke up, I was already outside the temple and there was already this mark between my eyebrows," the giant lion said. "There's such a thing?" Qin Feiyang and the others exchanged glances. Fainting after entering the temple? This sounded a little unfathomable. Madman glanced at the giant lion, then at the giant tiger and leopard. "You guys are the same?" "Yes. It's not just us. All the ferocious beasts in the forest of gods and demons are the same," the giant tiger said. "Interesting." Madman chuckled. Qin Feiyang said, "Then what's the use of this blood-word mark? It increases strength. Once this mark is awakened, our strength, physical strength and speed will increase tremendously. Furthermore, we won't be restricted by the rules of the forest of gods and demons. We can fly and burrow underground," the giant tiger said. "Then where is the temple?" Qin Feiyang asked. "The central area." The giant tiger pointed to the front and said. Qin Feiyang raised his head and looked over, his eyes shining. Needless to say, he had already developed a strong interest in this so-called temple. The white-eyed wolf suddenly said, "What's with the illusion here?" "Illusion?" Hearing the two words, the giant tiger and the other two beasts' eyes trembled, as if they were very afraid of the illusion here. "The illusion here is everywhere. For example, when you fall into the illusion, you won't even notice it," the giant tiger said. "So magical?" The white-eyed wolf was surprised. The giant tiger suddenly smiled, revealing a strange smile. "Maybe you've already fallen into the illusion. Are you looking for a beating?" Madman jumped and kicked. Qin Feiyang and the others were speechless. If it was really an illusion, why would the giant tiger and the other two beasts tell them so much? Did they really think they were scared? The illusion in the forest of gods and demons is different from the outside. The outside illusions are all illusions. But the illusion here is real, and this is the most terrifying part of the forest of gods and demons. Everything looks real, but in fact you're already in danger," the giant tiger said. "You say it as if it's real." The white-eyed wolf pursed his lips and slapped the giant tiger's head with his paw, asking, "Does it hurt?" "Nonsense. Of course it hurts." The giant tiger bared his teeth and said angrily, "Since you know pain, it's still an illusion?" the white-eyed wolf said. The giant tiger was slightly stunned and said angrily, "Didn't I already tell you that everything in the illusion is real? Since it's real, it must hurt. You don't even understand this, are you stupid?" The giant tiger's eyes were full of disdain. The white-eyed wolf looked at the giant tiger and then looked around. This guy said it as if it was real. Could it be that everything was really an illusion? The giant lion suddenly said, "It's actually very easy to distinguish whether it's an illusion or not." "How?" Qin Feiyang and the others looked at it suspiciously. 3 days later. The souls of living beings who are trapped in the illusion will be annihilated after 3 days. Take a look at it then. If your soul hasn't been annihilated, then you haven't fallen into the illusion, the giant lion said. Soul annihilation. Qin Feiyang and the others were shocked. This is the illusion of the forest of gods and demons. If you fall into it unknowingly, your soul will have been annihilated by the time you realize it. A strange smile gradually appeared in the giant lion's eyes. Seeing this smile, Qin Feiyang and the others couldn't help but feel goosebumps. They didn't believe it at first, but after hearing what the three beasts said, they couldn't help but feel nervous. Was everything in front of him real or just an illusion? Whoosh! Suddenly, just as Qin Feiyang and the others were distracted, the giant tiger and the other two beasts rushed into the sky and fled. Qin Feiyang and the others were stunned. Turns out that you humans are so easy to fool. Wait and see, we'll settle this score with you. The giant tiger laughed without looking back. The others were stunned. After all this time they had been fooled? Bastard! After coming back to his senses, Lunatic flew into a rage. But it was too late. The three beasts had already disappeared at the end of the forest. How embarrassing! Qin Feiyang shook his head and smiled bitterly. Each and every one of them were courageous individuals. Yet now, they were actually scared witless by the three ferocious beasts. Next time we meet, watch how I deal with them. Lunatic snorted coldly, furious. Wang Ming pondered for a while and said, I don't think they're trying to scare us. Huh. Lunatic frowned. Do you remember what Beast Venerable said back then? He also said that the illusion here is real. So, at least in this aspect, the three beasts didn't lie to us. It's also a reminder for us. In this forest of gods and demons, we have to pay attention to whether we're in an illusion at all times. Wang Ming said, That makes sense. Yang Li nodded in agreement. Then, do you think we're in an illusion now? Don't tell me those three guys are fooling us again, making us think that we're not in an illusion. White-eyed Wolf looked around worriedly. This, Qin Feiyong, Lunatic, Wang Ming, and Yang Li looked around. They really couldn't tell. Chapter 27-26. Let's stop scaring ourselves. If it really is an illusion, no matter how real it is, there must be traces of it. But now we can't even find any traces of an illusion, which means that it's not an illusion. Qin Feiyong said. Yes, we have to stay calm. If we scare ourselves out of our wits before we even start, how can we continue? Yang Li nodded. Wang Ming, Lunatic, and White-eyed Wolf smiled when they heard this. I heard from the Venerable Beast that these damaged areas will automatically recover after an hour. I wonder if that's true? Yang Li was suspicious. White-eyed Wolf said. Then let's wait here for an hour and see for ourselves. Yang Li looked at Qin Feiyong. Anything is fine. Qin Feiyong smiled. Yang Li immediately looked at the ravaged valley. His eyes filled with anticipation. An hour passed quickly. Immediately, a miraculous scene appeared. Whether it was the destroyed mountains or the grass and trees that were smashed by the battle, they all began to recover. In just a short while, everything returned to its original state. No way. They were dumbfounded. It was already ridiculous that the mountains and rivers could be restored, but even the smashed grass and trees could be restored? What kind of place was this forest of gods and demons? It can't be restored for no reason. This forest of gods and demons should be covered with some kind of mystical power. White-eyed Wolf scanned the void and said, That makes sense. Qin Feiyong nodded. It's getting more and more interesting. Lunatic chuckled. Wang Ming asked, Where are we going next? Is there even a need to ask? Of course we're going to the temple. Lunatic said. Swoosh. The group immediately turned and dashed into the forest ahead. Brother Qin. But not long after they entered the forest, a group of people ran out of a valley and blocked Qin Feiyong's way. Qin Feiyong frowned. The people who suddenly ran out to block them were the burly man and the others who had escaped earlier. What do you want? Wang Ming landed in front of Qin Feiyong and looked gloomily at the crowd. Don't misunderstand. We don't mean any harm. The big man hurriedly waved his hand. Then what are you guys doing? Wang Ming was suspicious. The big man hesitated and didn't say anything, as if he had something hard to say. The others also lowered their heads, looking nervous and ashamed. Qin Feiyong gently pushed Wang Ming aside and looked at the group. You want to travel with us, right? The group of people was stunned. The burly man smiled and said, Brother Qin is really smart. That's what we meant. After all, there's strength in numbers. Everyone can look after each other. Look after each other? Yang Li couldn't help but scoff when he heard this. With your strength, what can you possibly take care of us? The burly man was at a loss for words. You guys are just afraid of the giant beasts in the divine demon forest, and want to follow us to seek protection. Don't you find it laughable? Yang Li mercilessly exposed the thoughts of this group of people. The group of people lowered their heads in shame again. Besides, you guys wanted to kill us in the plains earlier. Although young master is magnanimous and didn't take it to heart, it doesn't mean that it's all in the past. Yang Li said. Sorry, it's all our fault. We were muddle-headed and were instigated by the dragons. Brother Qin, please be merciful and help us. We really don't have a choice. As long as you're willing to take us along, we're willing to do anything. The burly man kept apologizing and begging. The others also looked at Qin Feiyong pitifully. Looking at these people, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel disgusted. If he wasn't strong enough, he would have died in the plains. And these people definitely wouldn't show mercy to him. They might even stab him a few times while he was down. Now, they were trying to curry favor with him when they were in trouble? He had never seen such thick-skinned people. Get lost. Don't waste our time. Yongli shouted. I beg you, Brother Qin. The burly man knelt on the ground with a plop. Seeing this, the others also knelt on the ground and begged. Let's go. Qin Feiyong glanced at the group of people indifferently and walked straight past them. He wasn't a saint. Letting these people go was already his limit, and they still wanted him to help? How could that be? Dragons are your real fathers. Go ask the dragons for help. Wang Ming couldn't help sneering as he passed by the group of people. The burly man and the others trembled as they looked at the backs of Qin Feiyong and the others in despair. Suddenly, as if a cornered dog jumping over a wall, the burly man roared, You're not helping? Qin Feiyong and the others were stunned. They stopped and turned to look at the burly man. I'm asking you, are you not helping? The burly man said angrily. Yes. Madman nodded and asked then, Threaten us? Or kill us? We definitely don't have the strength to kill you. But we know who you are. The burly man stared at Madman with a sinister smile. Who I am? Madman was stunned. We all witnessed the battle between you and the three giant beasts. Blood Fiend Domain. If the rumors are true, you're Madman, right? The burly man said. Madman was stunned for a moment before he smiled. I didn't expect to be so famous already. You even know what divine art I have. As a disciple of the Dragon God's Hall and a friend of Li Bu-er, you're actually with Qin Feiyong now. What do you think the consequences will be if word of this gets out? The burly man laughed sinisterly. I see. Madman was enlightened. So this is the bargaining chip you're using to blackmail us. That's right. If you take us out, we can promise to keep our mouths shut. But if you don't agree, although the forest of gods and demons is dangerous, there are so many of us. 1 or 2 of us will be able to make it out alive. At that time, don't blame us for not giving you any face. The burly man shouted. Haha, Madman suddenly laughed out loud. He had never seen such an ignorant person before. Even Yi Zhong, the Beast Emperor, and the various ancestral dragons didn't dare to step into the forest of gods and demons. How could it be so easy to make it out alive? Qin Feiyong asked, So, are you sure you're going to eat us? What do you think? The burly man said. Qin Feiyong said, Since that's the case, I'll reveal my true identity. True identity? The burly man and the others were suspicious. Qin Feiyong said indifferently, I am Li Bu-er. What? You're Li Bu. The group stared at Qin Feiyong in shock. You're surprised, right? The disciple of the Dragon God's Hall Master is actually me, Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong said. That's impossible. How could you be Li Bu-er? The burly man shook his head, his face full of disbelief. The dragons see me as a thorn in their flesh. To enter the Dragon God's Hall, I definitely have to change my appearance. Qin Feiyong said. Li Bu-er is Qin Feiyong, and Qin Feiyong is Li Bu-er? The amount of information was too much, and the group couldn't digest it for a long time. Wait a minute. Why are you telling us such an important thing? An old man suddenly asked. Think about it yourself. Qin Feiyong said. The old man looked at Qin Feiyong in shock. The others also had doubts in their eyes. Qin Feiyong is Li Bu-er and Li Bu-er is Qin Feiyong. This was definitely an explosive piece of news. But now, Qin Feiyong actually told them without holding back? Wasn't this digging his own grave? Could it be? The old man's eyes suddenly trembled, and he stared at Qin Feiyong in shock and anger, shouting, You want to kill us? You're quite smart. Qin Feiyong nodded. You. The old man's body and mind trembled. When the burly man and the others heard this, they were also panicking. I really didn't intend to kill them. But you guys are too insensible. You actually want to threaten us? I, Qin Feiyong, am someone you can threaten. Qin Feiyong's eyes were filled with killing intent. No, we were muddle-headed just now. We were anxious, so we said those words that overestimated ourselves. You're a great person, don't bother with us. We promise to keep our mouths shut. Don't kill us, we won't force you to take us with you. We're really sorry. The group suddenly panicked. How could they do such a stupid thing? Threatening Qin Feiyong. Isn't this courting death? Especially the burly man. It was too late for regrets. Who was Qin Feiyong? He was the devil incarnate who even dared to touch the dragons. How could they be so stupid as to threaten him? Qin Feiyong glanced at the group, the killing intent in his eyes receding, and he turned to leave without saying a word. Thank you, thank you. The burly man and the others were extremely grateful, thinking that Qin Feiyong had already let them go. Wang Ming. But suddenly, Qin Feiyong spoke indifferently. Wang Ming smiled coldly and stared at the group. I'll tell you another secret. I'm one of the 8 great divine emperors of Dragon Slayer Palace, Emperor Ming. And me? One of the 8 great divine emperors of Dragon Slayer Palace, Emperor Li. Yang Li also sneered. Divine Emperor. The group turned ghastly pale. There were actually 2 great divine emperors of Dragon Slayer Palace. One was the infamous Qin Feiyong, the other was a famous lunatic, and the other was 2 divine emperors who struck fear in countless people. They had actually provoked such a terrifying existence. If this wasn't courting death, then what was? Now do you know how stupid your actions were? Killing intent flashed in Wang Ming's eyes, and he darted in front of the burly man like a ghost. Don't kill me! The burly man roared in horror. But it was to no avail. With a wave of his hand, Wang Ming directly smashed the burly man's head, and his soul was instantly annihilated. Don't, I beg you, don't kill us. If you attack again, I'll blow myself up and take you down with me. Seeing this, the group of people were instantly terrified. Blow yourself up? Do you think you have a chance to blow yourself up in front of us? Yang Li's face was full of disdain. He also dashed out like lightning and smashed that man's head with one punch. Screams rang out one after another, and in less than 3 breaths of time, all 30 or so people were dead. You don't know what's good for you. After that, Wang Ming, Yang Li, the lunatic and the white-eyed wolf chased after Qin Feiyong, leaving behind a ground full of broken bodies and severed limbs, and the pungent smell of blood. Chapter 27:27. This young man is getting more and more terrifying. After Qin Feiyong's group left, an old man with white hair appeared beside him. It was the old man with straw sandals. That's right. He had also entered the Divine Demon Forest. For an expert like him, the Divine Demon Forest was more tempting than any other place. Old man, I meet you again. Suddenly, accompanied by laughter, the old woman in green walked out from the side with a snake-shaped walking stick. The old man with straw sandals frowned and said angrily, "Are you following me?" No. I can only say that this is fate." The old woman in green waved her hand, her eyes glowing with a green light. Scram. Who is fated with you? The old man with straw sandals ran forward with a black face. Since we've met again, why don't we travel together? We can take care of each other. The green-robed old woman said with a smile. Take care of each other? I'm worried that my old life will die in the hands of an old witch like you before I die under the claws of a giant beast. The old man with straw sandals sneered. Don't be so heartless. The old woman sighed helplessly. If I'm not heartless with you, should I talk about feelings with you? Don't follow me. I don't like to travel with others, especially you. The old man with straw sandals warned. But the old woman in green turned a deaf ear. On the other side, I wonder if this divine demon forest has any heaven-defying treasures or inheritances of the power of laws. A man and a woman stood on a mountain ridge and looked ahead. The woman was enchanting as she nestled in the arms of the golden-clothed man. The golden-clothed man also hugged the woman's slender waist with one hand. They were like a couple in love. The golden-clothed man frowned and said, "Right now, I'm most concerned about that child called Li Feng." Why? The woman was surprised. Absorbing the essence of flesh and blood to strengthen himself. As far as I know, there's only one person in history who can do this. The golden-clothed man whispered. Blood ancestor? The woman thought for a moment and asked. Yes. The golden-clothed man nodded. It can't be. Didn't the blood ancestor fall with the destruction of the previous era? The enchanting woman was bewildered. Perhaps Li Feng obtained his inheritance, or perhaps the blood ancestor didn't truly perish. It seems that with the appearance of Qin Feiyong, the situation is quietly changing. Many big shots who have disappeared will slowly appear. The golden-clothed man said in a deep voice, if the people of the previous era become active, I'm afraid there will be a catastrophe. The enchanting woman was somewhat worried. Yes, The people of the previous era hated dragons even more than the people of this era. They have been waiting for an opportunity. And the appearance of Qin Feiyong may be an opportunity for them. I just hope this calamity doesn't involve us. The golden-robed man whispered. When that time comes, I'm afraid we won't be able to stay out of this. The enchanting woman said. Sigh. The man in gold sighed and looked up at the evil sun in the sky. Was there really no way to avoid it? Time flew by. It had been exactly 3 days since Qin Feiyong and the others entered the Divine Devil Forest. At this moment, Qin Feiyong and the others stopped at the peak of a giant mountain and looked at the sky in silence. Phew. A moment later, Frenzy let out a long breath and retracted his gaze. He looked at Qin Feiyong and the others and said, Everyone is fine. It seems that we really didn't fall into an illusion. We were worried for nothing. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled bitterly. They were very concerned about this matter. Thus, they decided to stay here and wait until the end of the 3rd day. If they really fell into an illusion, there would definitely be signs before their divine soul was annihilated. This way they could think of a solution in time. But until now, nothing had happened to them. This was enough to prove that they didn't fall into an illusion. His heart, which had been hanging in the air all this time, could finally be put down. Lord, it's them. Suddenly, an angry roar sounded. Qin Feiyong and the others raised their heads to look. They saw 4 huge creatures flying straight towards them. 3 of them were the giant tiger and the other 2 beasts. The other one was a bird with flame-like feathers, and its wings were a few 100 feet wide. Fire Luan. Wang Ming whispered. It's quite powerful. It's at the peak 9 heaven state. I'm afraid it's a bit difficult to deal with, Yang Li said telepathically. The giant tiger and the other 2 beasts were already staring at them. It was too late to hide now. You're the divine emperors of the Dragon Slayer Palace after all. How can you be afraid of a beast? Don't you feel ashamed? The white-eyed wolf said in disdain. The 2 smiled bitterly. If they were outside, they definitely wouldn't be afraid. They could even kill a half-step Eternal Realm cultivator, let alone a peak 9 heaven state cultivator. But how could the outside compare to hell? Here they were merely at the great perfection 9 heavens realm. Not to mention that this was a beast from the forest of gods and demons. The beasts in the forest of gods and demons were more terrifying than the blood demons. They had to be careful. We'll have to face them sooner or later. There's no need to hide. Wang Ming, Yang Li, go and get rid of them. Let them know that we're stronger than the blood demons and the dragons. Qin Feiyong said. Yes. Wang Ming and Yang Li nodded respectfully. Then they stomped on the ground and jumped high. The giant tiger shouted. The guardian is here in person. How dare you act rashly? I don't care if you're a guardian. If you dare to provoke us, even the heavenly king will have to kneel down. Wang Ming shouted. The god-slaying sword array appeared. 100,000 swords gave off a destructive aura. Dragon-slaying formation. Yang Li also let out a roar. 99 giant pythons appeared out of nowhere, forming a terrifying killing formation. You're courting death. Fire Luan's eyes darkened. Kill them for me. Roar. Giant tiger and the other 2 beasts roared. And 3 supreme-level divine arts appeared out of thin air. Carrying monstrous momentum, they charged toward Wang Ming and his companion. Ants. Wang Ming and Yang Li snorted. The god-slaying sword array and the dragon-slaying formation instantly shattered the sky and charged toward the 4 beasts. The 2 couldn't fly, so they landed on an ancient tree below. The ancient tree was so tall that a dozen people couldn't surround it. The 2 stood at the top of the tree with cold eyes. Boom! The 5 supreme-level divine arts collided with each other. The god-slaying sword array and the dragon-slaying formation. These 2 supreme divine arts were shattered. Wang Ming and Yang Li spat out mouthfuls of blood. How is that possible? The 2 of them were dumbfounded. Although the god-slaying sword array and the dragon-slaying formation weren't their strongest techniques, they shouldn't be this weak. They couldn't even withstand a single blow. Don't underestimate them. They've awakened the power of the Bloodword Mark. Lunatic shouted. Bloodword Mark. The 2 of them looked up at the glabella of the 3 beasts. The Bloodword Mark shone with an intense bloodlight as if it was condensed from fresh blood. Is this the strength of the God-fiend forest beasts? Seems like we've underestimated them. Wang Ming smiled bitterly. That's right. Although they're only at the Nine Heavens realm, they're not weaker than us because they've awakened the power of the blood word mark. This also means that we've underestimated Lunatic's strength in the past. Yang Li whispered. Yes. The fact that Lunatic can defeat them so easily shows how strong he is. No wonder young master admires him so much. The two of them couldn't help glancing at Lunatic with respect in their eyes. Once this person rose, he would definitely become a super terrifying expert like Qin Feiyang. Good luck. As White-Eyed Wolf said, we're the divine emperors of the dragon-slaying palace. We can't lose to a junior. I can't afford to lose face like this. Taking a deep breath, Wang Ming waved his hand, and the million battle sword appeared. Heaven-slaying sword array. Haha. I didn't expect you to be so anxious. But it's not your fault. Who asked these youngsters to be so outstanding? Wang Ming laughed, and his aura surged as he shouted, Dragon-slaying formation. 9 divine pythons instantly rushed into the sky. Although there were only 9 divine pythons, it was a level stronger than the dragon-slaying formation formed by the 99 giant pythons. Kill! The two of them shouted. The heaven-slaying sword array and dragon-slaying formation instantly shattered the sky and charged toward the 3 beasts' sovereign-level divine arts. Boom! A deafening sound exploded between heaven and earth. The divine arts of the 3 beasts were shattered. Immediately after, the heaven-slaying sword array and dragon-slaying formation charged toward the 4 beasts with an apocalyptic aura. Swoosh! The fire wand spread its wings and soared into the sky instantly. The 3 beasts' reaction seemed to be slower. In the nick of time, the 3 beasts summoned their armor. Boom! The 2 killing formations charged forward. The 9 divine pythons and million battle sword drowned the 3 beasts. Crack! The armor on their bodies did not last long before it shattered into pieces. Seeing that the 3 beasts were about to die, the fire luan in the sky suddenly swooped down with flames all over its body and blasted toward the 2 killing formations like a meteorite. Boom! The 2 killing formations were shattered by the fire luan on the spot. Wang Ming and the other beasts spat out mouthfuls of blood once more. Their eyes filled with shock. Did he just rely on his physical body to shatter their 2 strongest killing arrays? Was the body of the fire luan made of iron? Even if it was, it couldn't be that strong. One had to know. Whether it was the heaven-slaying sword array or the dragon-slaying formation, they were both supremacy-level divine arts. No matter how strong one's physical body was, there was no way it could deal with divine arts of this level. Qin Feiyang, Lunatic, and the White-Eyed Wolf were equally dumbfounded. Look! The mark on its forehead is different. The White-Eyed Wolf suddenly shouted. Different. Qin Feiyang and the other 3 were stunned. They hurriedly looked at the fire luan's forehead and their expressions froze. They had not noticed it before, but the blood word mark on the fire luan's forehead was golden, as if it was cast from gold leaf and emitted a mysterious aura. A golden blood word mark? What's the difference between this and the blood word mark on the 3 beasts? Everyone could not help but frown. The fire luan's extraordinary strength must have something to do with the golden blood word mark. How dare a bunch of ants enter the divine demon forest? The fire luan floated in the sky and looked at Qin Feiyang and the others with disdain in its blazing eyes. Chapter 27-28. So arrogant? Wang Ming was slightly taken aback. His gaze turned cold as he shouted, Heaven and Earth Cage. Boom! A huge cage fell, trapping the fire luan and the giant tiger within. Kill! Immediately after, the 2 of them activated the heaven-destroying sword array and the dragon-slaying array once again and charged towards the fire luan. Indeed, an unsightly ant. You don't even know your own limits. The fire luan was extremely disdainful. It raised its sharp claws and clawed at the heaven and earth cage. Crack! Immediately, like an eggshell, the heaven and earth cage was shattered. No way! Wang Ming's body and mind trembled. Qin Feiyang's heart was also in turmoil. The powerful heaven and earth cage was destroyed just like that? How strong was the fire luan exactly? Boom! After the heaven and earth cage shattered, the fire luan destroyed the heaven-destroying sword array and the dragon-slaying array once again. Poof! With the divine arts broken one after another, Wang Ming and Yang Li suffered severe backlash. They bled profusely and their faces were pale. I hate ants like you who don't have any strength and still like to jump around. I'll send you to hell right now. The Fire Yuan's tone was extremely cold. Boom! The next moment, a huge claw appeared. The claw was as sharp as a mountain. It was completely red and looked like it was made of magma, exuding an apocalyptic might. Immediately after, the claw descended from the sky and charged towards Wang Ming and Yang Li at lightning speed. Supreme killing technique. Not good. Wang Ming's expression changed as he roared. Invincible shield. 10 golden shields appeared, emitting a dazzling divine light as they surrounded Wang Ming and Yang Li. Boom. Almost at the same time the claw struck. Crack. A crack immediately appeared on one of the golden shields. The shock in Qin Feiyang's heart at that moment was indescribable. Wang Ming's invincible shield was formed from his innate divine ability. Back then, even Blood Gang's self-destruction did not completely shatter the invincible shield. But now how could a mere claw formed by a sovereign-level deity technique shatter the shield of invincibility so easily? Didn't that mean that the Fire Yuan's strength was comparable to the self-destruction of a Nine Heavens Realm Great Perfection cultivator? Compared to the self-destruction, isn't this too outrageous? No matter how strong he was, it was impossible for him to be this strong. Crack. In the blink of an eye. With a loud bang, the broken shield was completely shattered. Following closely, it was the second and third sides. The shields shattered one after another. Wang Ming was also seriously injured time and time again, and he couldn't stop coughing up blood. It seems, it's even stronger than self-detonation. Qin Feiyang murmured. Golden blood words. This was truly a terrifying force. The scariest thing was the person who had given these bloody words. What kind of powerful existence was hidden in this mysterious temple? Crack. The ninth shield was also completely shattered. Young master, Wang Ming exclaimed. If even the shield of invincibility couldn't block the sharp claws, then other means would be useless. Boom! Hearing Wang Ming's call, Qin Feiyang's eyes flashed with murderous intent, and an invisible force suddenly rushed out from his body like a tide toward the Fire Yuan. Soul extinguishing technique. No matter how strong the Fire Yuan was, it was useless against the soul extinguishing technique. That was because the soul extinguishing technique could ignore all defenses and attack the soul directly. However, the Fire Yuan didn't seem to panic at all. With a cold snort, a golden light suddenly shot out from the golden blood word mark between its eyebrows. The next moment, under Qin Feiyang's incredulous gaze, the golden light actually disintegrated the soul extinguishing technique. This lunatic and white-eyed wolf were also dumbfounded. It could even disintegrate the soul extinguishing technique? This golden blood word mark was a little too strong. Crack. At the same time, the 10th shield in front of Wang Ming and Lunatic also shattered with a sound. Boom! As the sharp claws fell, the two of them instantly felt a strong sense of danger. They even felt the aura of the Grim Reaper. Swoosh! However, just as their lives were hanging by a thread, a golden figure suddenly appeared in front of them. White-eyed wolf. Wang Ming and Lunatic were stunned. Qin Feiyang and Lunatic were also stunned. Then they looked to their sides, but there was no trace of the white-eyed wolf. What's going on? When did the white-eyed wolf leave? We didn't sense it at all? The two of them were extremely shocked. Even they didn't sense it. What did this mean? It meant that the white-eyed wolf's speed was almost to the point where they couldn't sense it. But how could the white-eyed wolf be so fast? In terms of understanding of the white-eyed wolf, Lunatic aside, who in the world knew the white-eyed wolf better than Qin Feiyang? Could be said that the person who knew the white-eyed wolf the best was Qin Feiyang. However, in Qin Feiyang's memory, the white-eyed wolf didn't have such a fast speed. But now the truth was right in front of him. Was this still the white-eyed wolf he knew? The white-eyed wolf grinned and clawed at the sharp claws. Golden light burst out from the claws. Boom! Wang Ming and Lunatic were stupefied by what happened. The white-eyed wolf's claw actually blocked the sharp claws. How was this possible? This scene completely overturned their understanding of the white-eyed wolf. After all, even the shield of invincibility couldn't block the sharp claws of the Fire Yuan. But now the white-eyed wolf blocked it. The most important thing was, The white-eyed wolf's cultivation was only at the 9th heaven realm. Why aren't you stepping back? The white-eyed wolf patted the two of them and raised his eyebrows. Yes, yes, yes. The two of them came back to their senses and hurriedly nodded. Then they turned around and ran to Qin Feiyong and Lunatic at lightning speed. Yongli said, "Young master, you really hid your strength well. You can't talk about us. You should talk about the white-eyed wolf alone. It's hiding its strength well." Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. Even he didn't expect the white-eyed wolf to be so powerful. Puff! But before he could finish his words, the white-eyed wolf spat out a mouthful of blood. Its claws were cut open and like a meteorite, it was sent flying by the sharp claws and smashed into the mountains behind it. "I thought you could give me a little surprise, but it turns out that you're just an ant." The Fire Luan looked down at the white-eyed wolf condescendingly. Boom! Its sharp claws shattered the sky and blasted toward the white-eyed wolf. "Will it be okay?" Yongli exclaimed. "Who knows?" Lunatic pursed his lips. Qin Feiyong shook his head and said, "It didn't ask for help. It should be fine." Whoosh! Suddenly, a golden light rushed out from the ground. Who else could it be but the white-eyed wolf? No way! Looking at the white-eyed wolf at this moment, Qin Feiyong and the others suddenly widened their eyes. They saw that the white-eyed wolf didn't have a single wound on its body. Moreover, its claws, which had been cut open earlier, had healed at this moment. "Did it take some magical elixir?" Wang Ming murmured. "Magical elixir? It can heal so quickly unless it has 10 divine life elixirs with dragon-shaped elixirs. And the divine life elixirs I gave it have 4 dragon-shaped elixirs." Qin Feiyong shook his head. Powerful strength, terrifying recovery ability. This was really unimaginable. Although the white-eyed wolf was sent flying by the sharp claws in the end, its strength was already very terrifying. Huh. At the same time, Fire Luan Giant Tiger and the other two beasts looked at the lively white-eyed wolf with a hint of surprise on their faces. The white-eyed wolf looked at the sharp claws coming at it, then turned to Qin Feiyong and the others and said with a smile, "Look at your little expectant eyes. I'll show you a little." "Show you a little?" Qin Feiyong and the others were stunned. Boom! All of a sudden, a golden light rushed out from the white-eyed wolf's back. At this moment, a giant golden wolf appeared behind the white-eyed wolf. The appearance of that enormous golden wolf was exactly the same as that of the white-eyed wolf. However, its body was extremely enormous. It was several tens of thousands of feet long. It was like an enormous mountain that stood between heaven and earth. "Look at my invincible overlord fist!" the white-eyed wolf roared. The giant golden wolf behind it immediately stood up and threw a punch at the sharp claws. With a loud bang, the sharp claws shattered in the air. Immediately after, the giant golden wolf's claws attacked the Fire Luan. "You're courting death." The Fire Luan was furious. All of a sudden, his entire body was enveloped in flames. The next moment, a huge fireball appeared in the sky. It looked like a meteorite flying from outer space, carrying a monstrous wave of fire as it blasted towards the giant golden wolf. "Look at my second move, Invincible Overlord Fist." The white-eyed wolf roared again, and the giant golden wolf punched the fireball. "Invincible Overlord Fist?" Qin Feiyong was stunned. What was the difference between this and the first move, Invincible Overlord Fist? It was just the name reversed. A huge fireball, a huge fist. It was like a comet colliding in the sky. The heaven and earth here were suddenly shrouded in flames and golden light. A destructive aura surged out in all directions, destroying everything in its path. "Hey! Look at my brother's third move, Invincible Overlord Fist." The white-eyed wolf grinned. "What the hell? Another Invincible Overlord Fist?" Qin Feiyong and the others were quite speechless. Invincible Overlord Fist. Invincible Overlord Fist. Invincible Overlord Fist. What kind of names were these? There was no difference at all. The giant golden wolf punched again, and the fireball immediately shattered with a crack. Like fireworks, the flames illuminated the sky. So powerful? The giant tiger and the other two beasts were terrified. The guardian was actually no match for this wolf cub? The Fire Luan's eyes were also full of disbelief. What kind of monster was this? Invincible Overlord Fist? Invincible Overlord Fist? Invincible Overlord Fist? It sounded so unreliable, but it was actually so powerful. The last move, Invincible Overlord Fist. The white-eyed wolf roared, but then it was stunned. It raised its claws, scratched its head and muttered, "This name doesn't sound right?" Nonsense. Invincible Overlord Fist, no matter how I look at it, it doesn't sound right. Qin Feiyong and the others were speechless to the extreme. What Overlord Fist, what Invincible Fist? It was simply the white-eyed wolf's nonsense. Forget it. Whatever. Anyway, it's invincible. Look at my last move, Invincible Little Fist. The white-eyed wolf shook its head, looking very casual and arrogant. What's that? Invincible Little Fist. The corners of Qin Feiyong and the others' mouths twitched. Was it here to be funny? However, although the white-eyed wolf was a bit nonsensical, the strength it displayed was really terrifying. Bang! As its voice fell, the giant golden wolf's aura reached an unprecedented peak, and a fist suddenly blasted toward the Fire Luan. I can't even beat this unreliable thing? It's a great shame, a great shame. The Fire Luan was unable to restrain its anger. Its huge body turned into a ball of raging fire and blasted toward the giant golden wolf. Chapter 27-29. The last move was called Invincible Fist Overlord. But in the blink of an eye, it became Invincible Little Fist. How could it be so casual? It was simply humiliating and looking down on it. It couldn't take it. Burning with rage, the Fire Luan's aura soared to a terrifying level. The golden light from the blood character mark between its eyebrows was even brighter than before. It looked like a golden sun embedded in the center of its brows. Boom! In that instant, the fists of the Fire Luan and the giant golden wolf collided. That moment, a terrifying and destructive aura burst out from it. For a moment, the Fire Luan and the giant golden wolf were in a stalemate. The two seemed to be evenly matched. But this stalemate was quickly broken. The giant golden wolf seemed to sense the Fire Luan's provocation, and it slammed its head into the Fire Luan's head. The Fire Luan was immediately dizzy. The giant golden wolf took the opportunity to kick it, and the Fire Luan was immediately sent flying with a howl and smashed into the ground. Did you see that? Where did it kick the Fire Luan? The corner of Wang Ming's mouth twitched. Yes. Qin Feiyong and the others nodded, and a row of black lines appeared on their foreheads. Earlier, they could clearly see that the golden wolf had kicked the Fire Luan's egg. It's as shameless as the white-eyed wolf. Madman was speechless. As shameless as what? I think that giant golden wolf is the white-eyed wolf's true form. A Nine Heavens Realm cultivator actually used such a despicable method. It's embarrassing even if it wins. Yangli despised it. Looking at the Fire Luan again. Lying on the broken ground, its two wings were covering a place where blood was flowing, and its eyes were full of pain. Whoosh! The white-eyed wolf ran to the Fire Luan's side and sighed. Are you stupid? I already said that this is the Invincible Little Fist, and since it's the Invincible Little Fist, it must be invincible. Why did you still charge at it? You bastard! The Fire Luan was furious. Not only did it use such a despicable method, it even dared to mock it. How could it be so outrageous? Being invincible is so lonely. The white-eyed wolf shook his head, as if he was invincible and lonely. I can't take it anymore. Beat him up. The giant tiger roared. He was too good at pretending. Boom! The giant tiger and the other two beasts immediately charged towards the white-eyed wolf. The blood character mark between their eyebrows emitted a dazzling blood-red light. Not to mention the three beasts, even Qin Feiyong and the others wanted to rush up and beat this wolf cub up. Will you die if you don't pretend? Sigh. The white-eyed wolf glanced at the three beasts and shook his head helplessly. It's hard to keep a low profile. Pretending my ass. Go to hell. The three beasts roared. Boom. However, with a loud bang, the three beasts were sent flying by the giant golden wolf's claw, smashing into the ground not far away. Look. I'm just so invincible. Even I feel helpless. The white-eyed wolf sighed. That cocky look was really asking for a beating. The Fire Luan, the giant tiger, and the other two beasts got up and stared at the white-eyed wolf as if they wanted to eat him up. It didn't matter if they lost. However, this non-stop posturing really annoyed them. Not convinced. Fine. I'll let you have a taste of my invincible punches. The white-eyed wolf chuckled. As soon as he finished speaking, the giant golden wolf rushed up and gave them a good beating. The four beasts wailed incessantly. Venomous curses rang out incessantly, because not only the fire Luan, but even the three beasts' little genitals were specially taken care of by the giant golden wolf. Although it's a little shameless, it's really strong, Wang Ming murmured. Yes. Yang Li nodded and turned to look at Qin Feiyang. Young master, what the hell are these things around you? Each one is more perverted than the other. Do you know how to talk? What do you mean by things? You should call us geniuses. Lunatic glared at Yang Li. Yes, geniuses. Yang Li smiled bitterly. Let's not talk about other things, just talk about strength and talent. The so-called geniuses of China were really nothing compared to this group of people. Do you admit defeat? Yes. Are you still arrogant? Not arrogant. Is your brother powerful? Yes. All right, since you're so sensible, I'll reluctantly accept you as my little brothers. Come, let me hear you call me Big Brother. Hello, Big Brother. Big Brother awesome. Big Brother mighty. Not bad. In a short while, the fire Luan and the four beasts were subdued by the white-eyed wolf. Let's go. The white-eyed wolf smiled proudly and walked toward Qin Feiyang and the others. The four beasts got up and helplessly followed the white-eyed wolf. Not only were they beaten up, but they also became this wolf cub's little brothers. How embarrassing. How could they survive in the forest of gods and demons in the future? Little Qinzi, what do you think? The white-eyed wolf smiled at Qin Feiyang. Tell me honestly, what did you get when you became a god? Qin Feiyang grabbed the white-eyed wolf's tail and said, What are you doing? Are you trying to force a confession out of me? Let me tell you, it's useless. I'd rather die than submit. The white-eyed wolf was stunned and immediately said angrily. Qin Feiyang's face darkened. Damn wolf cub, you're so stubborn. However, he was already sure that the white-eyed wolf must have received a great fortune when he became a god. Otherwise, how could he be so strong? As people often said, one could amaze the world with a single brilliant feat. Ever since he became a god, the white-eyed wolf had not fought, so later on, Big Black Wolf, the three Black Panther brothers, and even Lunatic thought that the white-eyed wolf was just a decoration. But the truth was that he was truly strong. The white-eyed wolf roared, Let go, or don't blame me for getting angry with you. Qin Feiyang sighed helplessly. It seemed that it was useless to interrogate him, so he let go of the white-eyed wolf's tail. Brother Wolf, since you're so strong, why didn't I see you take action when we were in danger before? Lunatic stepped forward and asked curiously. I keep a low profile. Besides, look at those big shots, don't they always appear at the end? The white-eyed wolf raised his head and said, Get lost. Lunatic's face darkened. He really did get angry at being called fat. On the side, Wang Ming and Yang Li looked at each other. These guys couldn't be treated like ordinary people. Wang Ming looked at Luan, then at Qin Feiyang. It just so happens that we're going to the temple. Why don't we let it lead the way? Sure. Qin Feiyang nodded. What? You're going to the temple? Luan looked at Qin Feiyang and the others in astonishment. Is there a problem? Qin Feiyang asked. Haha, do you know how many guardians there are in the temple? Do you know how many guardians are stronger than me? If you go to the temple, you're courting death. Luan sneered. Still so arrogant? The white-eyed wolf glared. I'm just stating a fact. Luan snorted coldly. Pondering for a moment, Qin Feiyang looked at Luan and asked with a smile. Then I want to ask, are those guardians as strong as transformed blood demons? A transformed blood demon. Luan murmured and looked proudly at Qin Feiyang. They're about the same. I thought they were stronger than transformed blood demons, but it turns out they're just about the same. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Luan said, From your tone, it sounds like you can even defeat transformed blood demons? I haven't truly fought with a transformed blood demon before. But I killed millions of people by myself and most of them were in the Nine Heavens realm. Can you so-called guardians do that? Qin Feiyang said. Kill millions of people? You must be kidding. How can you, a human, do that? Do you think I'm so easy to fool? Luan's eyes were full of disdain. Haha. Qin Feiyang laughed and said, Whether I'm fooling you or not, you'll know soon enough. Lead the way. Okay. If you insist on courting death, I'll fulfill your wish. Huoluan sneered. As soon as its voice fell, Qin Feiyong took a step forward and landed on Huoluan's back. What are you doing? Huoluan immediately roared. What do you think? Qin Feiyong asked in return. Looking at Frenzy and the others on the ground, he said, Why aren't you coming up? Okay. The group of people came back to their senses and jumped onto Huoluan's back. Bastard! You actually think I'm a mount? Huoluan was furious. What did you say just now? Are you being arrogant again? White-eyed Wolf slapped Huoluan's head with its claw. Huoluan was flustered and angry. If you keep talking, I'll pluck your feathers and roast you on the fire. White-eyed Wolf said. Okay. You wait and see. Huoluan roared in its heart, rose into the air, and flew into the depths of the forest like lightning. Giant Tiger and the other two beasts looked at each other, looked up at Huoluan's back, and shouted, Master, what should we do? Up to you. Huoluan shouted coldly without looking back. You, of course, take us to the temple. Suddenly, a hoarse laugh sounded behind the three beasts. Giant Tiger and the other two beasts were shocked. They turned around and saw two humans standing not far away. It was the straw shoe old man and the green-robed old woman. And me. Little demon child also came out from the other side of the forest. Bang! After little demon child appeared, there was a steady and powerful sound of footsteps. The burly man, who was more than 2 meters tall, also came out of the forest expressionlessly. Of course, we can't be left out. The golden-robed man also came out from the other side with the enchanting woman in his arms. The straw shoe old man glanced at them and frowned. You're all here. The enchanting woman smiled charmingly. This can only mean that we have the same idea. What idea? I don't understand. The straw shoe old man shook his head. You old man, you still like to play dumb. Why are you following Qin Feiyong? Isn't it because you think that following Qin Feiyong will give you a chance to obtain the heaven-defying artifact and the inheritance of the power of law? The enchanting woman said. Do you need to talk? The straw shoe old man stared at the enchanting woman. What? Are you going to bully me because you're old? The enchanting woman looked at the straw shoe old man pitifully. The straw shoe old man couldn't help but feel a headache. He looked at Giant Tiger and the other two beasts and said, Take me to the temple immediately. Who are you? Do you think this is still your human territory? Do you think you can do whatever you want? It just so happens that I have nowhere to vent my anger. Go to hell. Giant Tiger and the other two beasts roared and pounced on the straw shoe old man's group. Chapter 27:30. However, they ignored the injuries on their bodies. Previously, they had been beaten black and blue by the white-eyed wolf. Perhaps they did not ignore the fact that they were injured because they did not take this group of people seriously. They thought that this group of people was as easy to bully as those people in the past. Humph! Accompanied by a cold snort, the burly man, the green-robed old woman, and the enchanting woman rushed out at lightning speed. Bang! Bang! In just a few rounds, the three beasts were beaten down by the three people. Another group of ruthless people? The three beasts were somewhat stunned. Whoosh! The fire Luan flapped its two huge wings and shuttled through the sky above the godfiend forest like a stream of light. Wherever it went, the beasts avoided it. The white-eyed wolf scanned the mountains below and said, Let me ask you, is there really an illusion in the godfiend forest? Of course. The fire Luan nodded. Then why didn't we encounter it? The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. I can only say that you guys are lucky. We'll talk about it later. How long have you guys been in the godfiend forest? The fire Luan snorted coldly. Lucky? The white-eyed wolf was stunned and chuckled. Needless to say, it must have something to do with my character. What does it have to do with your character? The fire Luan was stunned. Qin Feiyong and the rest also looked at the white-eyed wolf suspiciously. Of course I have good character, so I'm lucky. The white-eyed wolf smiled narcissistically and looked at Qin Feiyong and the rest. You guys are basking in my glory, do you know that? Shameless. The fire Luan cursed in its heart. Qin Feiyong and the rest also rolled their eyes. They did not object to narcissism, but could there be a limit to it? How could it take credit for such a thing? The white-eyed wolf did not mind at all. Standing on the fire wand's head, it asked, "Now that we're high up in the sky, will we encounter an illusion?" "Not in the sky." The fire wand shook its head. "Why?" The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. "Why are you asking so many questions?" The whole wand was infuriated. Couldn't they just keep quiet? Why did they keep asking? How annoying. Arrogant again? The white-eyed wolf was slightly taken aback. He kicked the fire wand's head and shouted, "Do you want to die?" "You." Hulwan was furious. As a member of the shrine's guardians, he was actually bullied by a wolf to this extent. How infuriating. "Quick, answer my question." White-eyed wolf said angrily. All right. The fire wand answered, "Because the illusions are set in the forest, there are no illusions in the sky." "I see." In other words, the mythical forest restriction on flying is due to these illusions. The white-eyed wolf said. "That's right. If everyone can fly, then what's the point of setting up these illusions?" Hulwan nodded. "All right then, after we go to the divine palace, bring us to the divine devil's square." The white-eyed wolf laughed. Since they were flying the entire time, they didn't have to worry about falling into illusions. "You have the final say," the fire wand said. Since they weren't under the eaves, they had to lower their heads. No matter what the white-eyed wolf said, it would agree first and wait until they reached the divine palace. Qin Feiyong pondered for a while and asked, "How long will it take to reach the divine palace?" "Half a year." The fire wand said. "Half a year." The white-eyed wolf was slightly stunned and frowned. "That's not right. Didn't the giant tiger and the other two beasts only take 2 or 3 days to ask for your help?" "Because I wasn't at the divine palace." The fire wand said. "What do you mean?" The white-eyed wolf was suspicious. "We are the guardians of the divine palace, and each of us is guarding an area. And I, the emperor, am guarding this area. Therefore, the giant tiger and the rest don't need to go to the divine palace to look for me." The fire wand said. "I see." The white-eyed wolf nodded in realization and asked curiously, "Then how many guardians do you have in total?" "I don't know. Everyone is scattered all over the place and rarely interacts with each other. If anything happens, we will go directly to the 10 strongest guardians. The 10 strongest guardians are stationed at the divine palace, and are the most powerful existences in the entire forest of gods and demons." The fire wand said with admiration in its eyes, "The 10 strongest guardians?" They looked at each other. The fire wand's strength was obvious to all, but even it was so respectful and worshipful. Then how strong were these 10 strongest guardians? "Look, there's a group of people over there." Wang Ming suddenly pointed to a plain below and said, "A group of people?" Qin Feiyong and the others were stunned. Looking down, they saw 40 to 50 people walking on the plain in a sorry state. There were men and women, old and young. Everyone looked exhausted and their bodies were covered in wounds. They seemed familiar. Yang Li frowned and suddenly slapped his head. "I saw them when we first arrived at the plain." In other words, they were the first batch of people to enter the forest of gods and demons. The white-eyed wolf mocked. "It's truly a miracle that they're still alive. I think there were only slightly more than 100 people who entered the forest of gods and demons back then. It's indeed a miracle that there are 40 to 50 people left after more than 100 years. Yang Li nodded. "Humph. It took them more than 100 years to get here. It's obvious that they must have been hiding in this area and didn't move forward. What kind of miracle can this method of living without purpose be considered?" The fire wand was disdainful. "I don't agree with you. Although living without purpose is a sign of incompetence, as long as you can survive, you're the winner," Yang Li said. However, before he could finish his sentence, the group of people collapsed one after another and died without any warning. "What's going on?" Qin Feiyong and the others were bewildered. "Do you even need to ask? They must have fallen into an illusion and their souls were destroyed on their own," the fire wand said. "Illusion?" Qin Feiyong's heart skipped a beat and he said in a deep voice, "Let's go down and take a look." "Are you sure you want to go down? There might be an illusion on the plain," the fire wand said. "If there really was an illusion on the plain, would you say that? I'm afraid you can't wait for us to run down immediately," Qin Feiyong said indifferently. "You're smart." The fire wand snorted coldly and swooped down in front of the corpses. "Wang Ming, go and check it out." Qin Feiyang. Yes. Wang Ming jumped over to the group of people and checked carefully before returning to the Fire Luan's back and saying in a deep voice, "They did die because their souls were destroyed." This. The gazes of Qin Feiyang and the others froze. Sure enough, Giant Tiger and the other two beasts hadn't lied to them. This was the outcome of falling into an illusion. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, it would have been hard for them to believe it. Illusion. The group couldn't help but look around. There were no traces of an illusion on the plain or in their surroundings. Furthermore, they had seen these people walking with their own eyes. In other words, indeed it was as Beast Emperor and Giant Tiger and the other two beasts had said. Even if they were in an illusion, everything that happened and saw was real. There was no way to break an illusion like this, because you didn't know if you were in an illusion or not. When did you fall into an illusion? Let's go. Qin Feiyang shouted. From now on, they would try their best to stay high up in the sky. It was simply too dangerous in the forest. Time flew by. Half a year later, the group had already entered the central region of the Forest of Gods and Demons. The mountains and ancient trees here were even more majestic and magnificent. One after another, giant peaks towered into the sky. Dozens of people probably wouldn't be able to encircle the ancient trees. The vines were as thick as horned dragons. Furthermore, the giant beasts in the mountains were all at the Nine Heavens' Great Perfection realm, and exuded an extremely powerful aura. Humans. When they saw Qin Feiyang and the others on the Fire Luan's back, the giant beasts below were very shocked. However, because of the Fire Luan's identity, none of the giant beasts blocked their way or questioned them. Very soon, an incomparably huge mountain entered the vision of Qin Feiyang and the others. The mountain was more than 100,000 feet tall, and its peak towered into the clouds, making it difficult to see its full appearance. However, Qin Feiyang and the others could sense a terrifying, ferocious aura from the peak of the mountain from afar. The Fire Luan said, "The temple is at the peak of the mountain." Qin Feiyang and the others looked at the peak of the mountain. Since the temple was at the peak of the mountain, the ferocious aura they sensed was definitely from the so-called 10 strongest guardians. Qin Feiyang patted the white-eyed wolf and the other two and said telepathically, "Don't be rash. Try not to attack if you can." Understood. Wang Ming and the other two nodded with solemn eyes. That was because the ferocious aura alone was enough to make them feel a fatal threat. However, the lunatic and the white-eyed wolf were eager to give it a try. Swoosh! The Fire Luan did not stop at all and charged directly to the peak of the mountain. The peak of the mountain was shrouded in clouds and mist like an immortal realm. At the peak of the mountain stood a majestic palace. The palace was approximately 1,000 feet tall and was pitch black in color, emitting an ancient and mysterious aura. Apart from that, there was nothing else at the peak of the mountain. However, in front of the palace, there was a square that was approximately 100 meters wide. The square was paved with a layer of black stones that were as flat as a mirror and had signs of severe weathering. Clearly, this had been there for many years. There were 10 ferocious beasts sprawled on the square. The 10 ferocious beasts were not huge and were only half a meter long each. They sprawled on the ground with their eyes closed as though they were taking a nap. Among them there were 3 wolves. A black wolf, a silver wolf and a white wolf. The remaining 7 ferocious beasts were a black eagle, a white python, a black bear, a golden mouse, a dragon horse, a ferocious crocodile and a snow rabbit. That snow rabbit and little golden mouse are pretty cute. The white-eyed wolf muttered. Cute? Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. Hadn't he heard of the saying that the cuter something was, the more dangerous it was? Huan was speechless as well. Did he know how strong the snow rabbit and golden mouse were? How ferocious. When they went berserk, even they were afraid of themselves. The word cute had nothing to do with them. Greetings, sirs. Huan calmed down and prostrated on the ground, greeting respectfully. Qin Feiyang and the rest jumped down from Huan's back and stood at the edge of the square, looking at the temple curiously. The temple's doors were tightly shut, giving off a mysterious vibe. What kind of treasure was hidden inside? Swoosh! The 10 ferocious beasts opened their eyes slowly and looked at Qin Feiyang and the rest with a cold glint in their eyes. Don't you know where this is? Why did you bring them here? Black Bear looked at Huan and shouted. Huan shuddered and said hurriedly, "Forgive me, Lord Black Bear. I didn't want to either. They forced me." Forced? Black Bear was stunned. The other 9 ferocious beasts were surprised as well. Chapter 27:31. This surprised them greatly. Fire Luan was the guardian of the temple, and was one of the strongest in the entire forest of gods and demons. But now, it was no match for a few humans and was forced to bring them to the temple. If Fire Luan wasn't lying, then the 4 people and 1 wolf in front of them weren't simple. Lunatic said to himself, look, the marks between their eyebrows are different. Qin Feiyong and the others looked over and realized that the marks between the eyebrows of the 10 great ferocious beasts were white. The 10 most powerful guardians. I think this white blood mark should be even more terrifying. Wang Ming said telepathically. Don't panic. Let's wait and see. Qin Feiyong said secretly. I'm not panicking. In fact, I'm looking forward to it. The white-eyed wolf snickered. Qin Feiyong couldn't help but roll his eyes. What do you mean? Rolling your eyes at us? The golden rat glanced at Qin Feiyong and frowned. Qin Feiyong was stunned. How could he be implicated like this? That was right. He was looking at the 10 great ferocious beasts when he rolled his eyes, but his target was the white-eyed wolf. However, he didn't expect this to lead to a misunderstanding. Lords, they are arrogant and conceited. Not only did they injure me, they also spoke rudely to you. Especially this one. Fire Luan glared at the white-eyed wolf and shouted. This wolf cub even threatened to kill all of you and flatten the temple. Huh? Kill all of us? Flatten the temple? The 10 great ferocious beasts glared at the white-eyed wolf. Stunned, the white-eyed wolf looked at Fire Luan suspiciously. When did I say that? Why? You dare to say it but don't dare to admit it? I knew it. You only dare to be arrogant in front of me. Fire Luan sneered. Did the white-eyed wolf say that? Wang Ming was also suspicious. I don't think so. Yang Li shook his head. They had been with the white-eyed wolf the entire time. If the white-eyed wolf had really said that, there was no way they wouldn't have an impression of it. How sinister. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Doesn't matter. The white-eyed wolf waved his paw and looked at the 10 great beasts. He shouted, yes, I said that before, but what can you do? Qin Feiyong looked at the sky, speechless. This damned wolf cub, why was he so disobedient? Didn't I tell you not to be impulsive just now? Why are you challenging me now? Wasn't this deliberately provoking the 10 great ferocious beasts? As expected. Hearing this, the 10 great ferocious beasts' eyes shone even more fiercely than before. Huan was also very surprised. She thought that the white-eyed wolf would definitely exonerate her, but she didn't expect him to admit to this groundless accusation. Was he really not afraid of death? Why are you staring at me? Let's do something practical. Come at me together or one by one. I'll let you choose. The white-eyed wolf stood on the ground and looked at the 10 ferocious beasts proudly. Boom! The black wolf, silver wolf and white wolf who were lying on the ground suddenly got up. A monstrous aura erupted and rushed toward the white-eyed wolf like a torrent. Hey! The white-eyed wolf grinned. Everyone, please calm down. This white-eyed wolf is indeed a little annoying, but he really didn't say that he would kill all of you and flatten the temple. The reason why he didn't clarify is because of his character. I hope you can forgive him. Qin Feiyong hurriedly stopped the white-eyed wolf and looked at the 10 great beasts. He didn't say? Do you think that I dare to lie to the 10 great beasts? Huan smiled coldly and looked at the 10 great beasts. Great beasts, these people are full of tricks. You must be careful. You can leave now. The black dragon waved its paw. Yes. Huan responded respectfully. Then she looked at Qin Feiyong and the others sarcastically and soared into the sky. Want to leave? The white-eyed wolf leaped and instantly landed on the back of Huan. Her eyes flashed with a fierce light. What do you want to do? Huan panicked. She didn't expect the white-eyed wolf to be so bold. In front of the 10 great beasts, she dared to make a move. Swish! At the same time, the black wolf, white wolf and silver wolf's blood mark between their eyebrows emitted a ray of divine light. Following closely, the 3 beasts took a step forward and appeared around the white-eyed wolf. You still dare to be presumptuous? The white wolf shouted. Hee hee. The white-eyed wolf grinned and looked down at Huan. Do you know that there is a saying among humans? What saying? Huan asked in a panic. Trouble comes from the mouth. After the white-eyed wolf said that, a giant golden wolf appeared behind him and slashed down with its paw. Chirp! With a wail, Huan's head exploded like a watermelon. Don't kill me, accompanied by a scream, Huan's divine soul flew out. Only now do you know fear? The white-eyed wolf sneered, and the giant golden wolf behind him waved its paw again. No, with another scream, Huan's divine soul was annihilated on the spot. You're courting death. The black wolf, white wolf, and silver wolf standing around were furious. Boom! The three beasts rushed toward the white-eyed wolf in unison. Three little wolf cubs dare to be arrogant in front of me? Do you know who is the Wolf King? The white-eyed wolf landed on the ground, and the giant golden wolf behind him roared toward the sky. A great majesty suddenly shrouded the peak of the mountain. The white wolf, silver wolf, and black wolf's eyes trembled slightly. This majestic aura actually gave them a sense of oppression that came from their souls. Sure enough, we can't underestimate it. The 7 golden beasts looked at the abnormality of the white wolf and the other 2 beasts, and their pupils suddenly shrank. Killing the Huan in an instant was enough to prove the strength of this white-eyed wolf. Now even the white wolf, black wolf, and silver wolf seemed to be afraid. Was it really a wolf king? You guys stop first, Ryoma said to the white wolf and the other 2 beasts, then looked at Qin Feiyong and said, Tell me your purpose in coming to the temple. Because it could see that Qin Feiyong was the one who could really make the decision among these people. Qin Feiyong said, We're just curious about what's inside this temple. Curious? Ryoma was stunned. Yes, just curious. So I hope we can get along peacefully. Qin Feiyong showed a very sincere smile. The fierce crocodile on the side suddenly said angrily, If you want to get along peacefully, then why did you kill our companion? It's not our fault. It's only its fault for courting death. Qin Feiyong was helpless. According to human words, this Huan was a sinister villain. Why are you talking so much nonsense with them? Kill! The white-eyed wolf suddenly roared angrily and rushed toward it. The white wolf and the silver wolf looked at each other and also rushed toward the white-eyed wolf with murderous intent. TSK, TSK, TSK. I really admire your courage. The white-eyed wolf looked at the 3 beasts, its eyes full of contempt. Ow! As its voice fell, the giant golden wolf behind it suddenly stood up and punched at the 3 beasts. Let's see how long you can be arrogant. The 3 beasts roared. At the same time they raised their claws and attacked the giant golden wolf. Boom! In an instant, the giant golden wolf and the 3 beasts collided. With a loud bang, the 3 beasts were immediately sent flying. But at the same time, the giant golden wolf was also torn apart. The white-eyed wolf also seemed to be seriously injured, with a trace of blood dripping from the corner of its mouth. White-eyed wolf, are you okay? Seeing this, Qin Feiyong and the others hurriedly asked with concern. I'm fine. The white-eyed wolf shook its head. The 3 beasts stabilized their bodies, stared at the white-eyed wolf and sneered. You do have some ability, but that's all there is to it. 3 against 1 and you were sent flying. You have the nerve to be proud? The white-eyed wolf pursed its lips. Hearing this, the 3 beasts were a little angry. Ryoma glanced at the 3 beasts and shouted, Human, there is nothing in the temple that you want. Please leave immediately. Qin Feiyong was stunned and asked suspiciously, You know what we want? All the creatures that enter the divine demon forest are after the heaven-defying artifact and the law of time. But these 2 things are not here. This is the last warning. Leave immediately, or don't blame us for being rude. Ryoma said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyong frowned. Is there no room for negotiation? No. Ryoma shook its head. Now that you mention it, I'm more curious about this temple. Qin Feiyong looked at the temple once more, his eyes shining. Curiosity will kill, Ryoma said gloomily. Qin Feiyong glanced at the dragon horse and lowered his head to ponder. Suddenly, he seemed to have noticed something as he glanced at the mountains behind him with a glint in his eyes. Immediately after, he looked at Ryoma again and smiled. All right, I won't force you. Let's go. What? Go? Wang Ming and the others looked at Qin Feiyong in shock. They came all the way here and he was going to leave without a conclusion? If they're not willing, why are we still here? If we force our way in, we'll be the unreasonable ones in the end, Qin Feiyang said. All right. Wang Ming nodded. How is it? I'm considered very sincere. Qin Feiyang looked at Ryoma and asked with a smile. You're not bad. Ryoma nodded. Qin Feiyang smiled and said, however, we shouldn't be the only ones entering the forest of gods and demons this time. They won't be as reasonable as us. You don't have to worry about that. Ryoma said indifferently. All right. Qin Feiyang nodded and turned to walk towards the cliff. White-eyed wolf, madman, and Wang Ming exchanged glances and could only follow helplessly. When they reached the cliff, madman said telepathically, Qin Feiyang, what are you doing? Someone seems to be hiding nearby. Let's leave first and check out the situation first. Qin Feiyang thought. Someone? Madman was shocked. I just happened to catch a figure, but I didn't see it clearly. It might just be an illusion. Qin Feiyang thought. Illusion? The corner of Madman's mouth twitched. Why did it sound so unreliable? Whether it's an illusion or not, it's always good to be on guard. Otherwise, others will benefit in the end. Qin Feiyang smiled secretly and was about to jump down. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. If there really was someone nearby, wouldn't he become the mantis? He didn't want to do such a losing deal. Kill them for me. But at this moment, a shout full of killing intent, anger, and resentment suddenly came from the temple. Ryoma and the 10 beasts hurriedly looked towards the temple with reverence in their eyes. Swish. At the same time, Qin Feiyang and White-Eyed Wolf heard this voice and their eyes trembled as they turned to look at the temple. This voice. It was Fire Dragon. Chapter 2732. The Fire Dragon was in the temple? The White-Eyed Wolf turned to Qin Feiyang and said, Little Qinzi, this must be an illusion, right? It must be an illusion. Qin Feiyang nodded. How could the Fire Dragon be in the temple? Didn't you hear my order? Kill them quickly. The voice sounded again. Qin Feiyang and the White-Eyed Wolf trembled. They didn't hear wrong. This was the Fire Dragon's voice. Boom! The 10 ferocious beasts shook violently and immediately released terrifying auras toward Qin Feiyang and the others. Get lost. Qin Feiyang glanced at the 10 ferocious beasts and directly activated the Rising Dragon spell. His cultivation instantly soared to the Great Perfection 9th Heaven stage. Then, an invisible force rushed toward the 10 ferocious beasts like a tide. Soul destruction technique. Since they were the Fire Dragon's subordinates, there was no need to show mercy. The invisible force roared in all directions. The 10 ferocious beasts immediately felt a fatal threat. Buzz! A divine light emerged from the white blood character mark between their eyebrows and blasted toward the invisible force. Boom! The invisible force immediately collapsed. But Qin Feiyang ignored it and took the opportunity to pass through the 10 ferocious beasts and head straight for the temple. The White-Eyed Wolf followed closely beside Qin Feiyang, its eyes filled with terrifying ferocity. What's going on with them? Wang Ming and Yang Li were suspicious. The madman said, they must have met their old enemy. He also recognized the Fire Dragon's voice. If he didn't know about the feud between Qin Feiyang and the Fire Dragon, he would definitely be as confused as Wang Ming and Yang Li. However, Qin Feiyang had told him about this before. The Fire Dragon had long been on Qin Feiyang's must-kill list. Hold them back. The madman's gaze fell on the 10 beasts as he shouted. All right. Wang Ming nodded. The heaven and earth cage appeared and instantly enveloped the 10 ferocious beasts. You overestimate yourself. The fierce crocodile let out a cold shout, and the blood character mark between his eyebrows shone brightly. Its body, which was half a meter long, suddenly swelled crazily. The draconic horse, golden rat, black wolf, and the others were also rapidly growing in size. In the blink of an eye, 10 giant beasts appeared out of nowhere. Their bodies were thousands of feet long, and they were like mountains, ferocious and imposing. Boom! The ferocious crocodile's body was covered in black scales. It raised its huge tail and slammed it towards the heaven and earth cage. With a loud crack, the heaven and earth cage shattered. Wang Ming spat out a mouthful of blood and stumbled backward. he said in astonishment, so strong, at least several times stronger than the fire Luan. No way. Yang Li's eyes trembled. Back then, even when he and Wang Ming had teamed up, they hadn't been able to defeat the fire Luan. But now, these 10 vicious beasts were actually several times stronger than the fire Luan? This wasn't something they could defeat. Even if they could restrain them, they might not be able to do it. Most importantly, these vicious beasts were about to fly in the air. This was a huge advantage in front of them. What are you afraid of? I'm here. Lunatic harumphed coldly and activated the Blood Fiend domain, enveloping the 10 vicious beasts instantly. Boom! The cultivation of the 10 vicious beasts instantly plummeted to the half-step 9 heavens realm. Kill them! Lunatic roared. Heaven vanquishing sword formation. Dragon annihilating formation. Wang Ming and Black Wolf roared and 2 killing formations appeared instantly, charging towards the 10 vicious beasts. Not simple indeed. The draconic horse looked at the 3 of them and murmured, "So what? Even if we stand here and let them kill us, they won't be able to do it." Black Wolf had a disdainful expression. Boom! The heaven vanquishing sword formation and dragon annihilating formation descended wildly, drowning the 10 vicious beasts. They're not fighting back? Are they dumb? Wang Ming and Black Wolf were stunned. Who's dumb? The 10 vicious beasts walked out of the 2 killing formations one after another. Lunatic and the other 2 widened their eyes in anger. At this moment, there wasn't a single wound on the bodies of the 10 vicious beasts. How was that possible? One had to know. These were 2 supreme being level killing techniques. Furthermore, their cultivation was suppressed to the half-step 9 heavens realm by the Blood Fiend domain. Faced with such a situation, even if their bodies were made of iron, it was impossible for them to be unscathed. Yang Li said in a deep voice, "It should have something to do with their bloodword imprints." The bodies of the 10 vicious beasts were covered in a layer of white divine light at this moment. It was the divine light that was protecting them. And the divine light came from the bloodword imprints on their foreheads. With the protection of the imprints, we are immortal. The 10 vicious beasts roared and charged towards the heaven vanquishing sword formation and dragon annihilating formation at the same time. The 2 killing formations disintegrated instantly. Even the Blood Fiend domain was shattered on the spot. The 3 of them spat out blood. The strength of the 10 vicious beasts was so strong that it made one despair. "I'm going to swallow you guys alive." The white python smiled malevolently and opened its bloody mouth, revealing its sinister fangs as it pounced towards Lunatic and the other 2. "Swallow me alive? I'm afraid your stomach won't be able to take it." Lunatic waved his hand and the bloodthirsty Demon King appeared with a blood-colored battle sword and a halberd in its hand. It charged towards the white python like a god fiend. "It's useless." The white python did not dodge at all and swung its huge tail at the halberd. Crack! The halberd shattered. The huge tail crushed towards the bloodthirsty Demon King, and the latter was also shattered instantly. Immediately after, the white python's bloody mouth bit towards Lunatic and the other 2. A thick fishy smell assailed their nostrils. "Invincible? All right. Let me see if you're really invincible." Lunatic was furious. Bloodlight appeared and a huge blood-colored domain enveloped the white python instantly. Blood Fiend 5 Styles Blood Prison. What? The white python instantly stopped in the air, its entire body as if it was frozen and motionless. "Die!" Lunatic shouted. Countless blood lightning bolts appeared in the blood prison and pounced towards the white python like small snakes. Blood prison. Wang Ming and Lunatic looked at each other and were shocked. Although they did not know what was so terrifying about the blood prison, when they recalled how Giant Tiger and the other 2 beasts were enveloped by the blood prison, they immediately fell into fear. Therefore, it was not hard to imagine that the blood prison was definitely extremely powerful. Perhaps Lunatic could kill these ferocious beasts. Boom! Countless blood lightning bolts swarmed over and drowned the white python. The white python's painful cries came from the blood prison. What's going on? Black Wolf and the other 9 ferocious beasts looked at this scene in shock. Although the white python's entire body was drowned by the blood lightning, and they could not see its current situation, its cries were clearly not good. "How dare you clamor at me, you're courting death." Lunatic was filled with killing intent and the Blood Fiend domain appeared once more, enveloping the blood prison. The white python's cultivation fell to the half-step 9 heavens realm once more. Its cries were even more miserable. "Hurry and help!" Dragon Horse shouted. The 9 ferocious beasts immediately attacked the blood prison and the blood fiend domain. With a loud crack, the blood prison and the blood fiend domain shattered one after another. As soon as the blood prison shattered, the blood lightning also dissipated and the white python was revealed. At this moment the white python was a bloody mess, especially its head, which was almost torn apart. Even the power of the bloodword mark could not help it block the blood lightning and was fatally injured. "No way! What kind of divine art is this? It's so strong?" Looking at the sorry state of the white python, the 9 ferocious beasts were extremely shocked. If they had been a step later, the white python would definitely have died in the blood prison. Seeing this scene, Lunatic couldn't help but frown. They were just a step away from killing the white python. These ferocious beasts really like to meddle in other people's business. "Human, I won't rest until you're dead." The white python roared angrily, and the bloodword mark on its forehead blossomed with an even brighter divine light. Immediately, an astonishing scene appeared. The injuries on the white python's body, as well as its head, which was almost torn apart, actually healed in an instant. How is this possible? Wang Ming and Yang Li were dumbfounded. Even Lunatic's eyes widened in disbelief. Wasn't this ability the same as the Blood Demon clan's ability, to absorb the power of the evil moon? How could such an abnormal ability kill these ferocious beasts? Unless it was a one-hit kill that was as easy as crushing dry weeds. "Die!" the white python roared. The 9 ferocious beasts also attacked. Poof! Facing the bombardment of the 10 great ferocious beasts, Lunatic and the other 2 were sent flying on the spot and crashed into the mountains below. The mountains within a radius of 10,000 li were directly razed to the ground. Rumble! Back to Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf. They rushed to the front of the palace and attacked the palace gate with all their might. But the palace gate was as steady as Mount Tai and didn't tremble at all. "So strong?" The white-eyed wolf was astonished. "Qin Feiyang, wolf cub, I didn't expect to meet you here." "What fate?" The fire dragon's voice came from the temple again, full of hatred. "Come out if you have the guts. Don't hide inside like a turtle." The white-eyed wolf shouted. "Haha, come in if you have the ability." The fire dragon laughed proudly and said, "But then again, when hell opened, why didn't this emperor notice you guys? You didn't notice us, but we recognized your voice at that time. I didn't want to believe it at first, but I didn't expect you to really be in hell." "Answer me, are hell and the 3rd floor of the miracle the same place?" Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. "Aren't you very smart? You don't know how to guess?" The fire dragon joked. "Huff!" Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and said, "I promise the fire python that I will kill you." "Fire python?" The fire dragon was taken aback for a moment and said playfully, "Sure, as long as you have the ability, but to be honest, this emperor really has to thank you guys." "What do you mean?" Qin Feiyang frowned. "If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have the chance to come here. Do you know what's inside this temple? One of them is the time array. All these years this emperor has been cultivating here. And now I have broken through to the 9th heaven stage. Do you know why this emperor is cultivating so hard? It's because this emperor wants to take revenge on you. Originally, this emperor didn't know how to find you, and didn't know if you were dead or alive, but I didn't expect you to take the initiative to come to me. Even the heavens are helping me." Haha. Hualong laughed wildly, forgetting himself. Chapter 2733. So they already know each other and have a deep grudge against each other. The 10 Longma beasts looked at Qin Feiyang and the white-eyed wolf with curiosity. He was actually acquainted with the person inside the temple. Who were these 2 people? Although the fire dragon's cultivation was not as good as theirs, the fire dragon's status in the temple was naturally higher than theirs. They still remembered the scene when the fire dragon first came to the forest of gods and demons. The wind and clouds suddenly changed. The fire dragon descended from the sky and had the right to use the temple. In such a situation, the fire dragon must have a great background. Therefore, they were in awe of the fire dragon all these years. Because in their opinion, the fire dragon should be an envoy sent by a big shot to guard the forest of gods and demons. All these years, The fire dragon had indeed been cultivating in the temple. But they thought that the fire dragon's cultivation was to convince them. After all, the guardians of the forest of gods and demons were very powerful. If he didn't have powerful strength, how could he convince these guardians? But they didn't expect that the fire dragon's cultivation was because of this man and wolf. He wanted to take revenge on them, to have a grudge against someone like the fire dragon. The identity of this man and wolf was definitely not simple. Qin Feiyang, wolf cub, what do you think about this surprise? The fire dragon stopped laughing and asked jokingly. Surprise. For us this is indeed a surprise. Because we can finally fulfill our promise to the fire python. But for you I'm afraid this is bad news. The white-eyed wolf sneered. Bad news? The fire dragon laughed again. You have indeed become very strong over the years, but we have also become stronger. And stronger than you. We could kill you in the past and we can still kill you now. Don't hide in there. Come out and die. The white-eyed wolf shouted. You want to fight with me? Then let's defeat the 10 strongest guardians first. You will only be qualified if you defeat them first. The fire dragon said proudly. The white-eyed wolf raised his eyebrows and tried to bombard the door of the temple again. However, just like before, he was unable to blast it open. Don't waste your energy. Without my permission, no one can enter the temple. The fire dragon sneered. Answer my question. Is this the 3rd floor of the miracle? I want the truth. Qin Feiyang said in a deep voice. This was what he was most concerned about. Don't worry, I'll tell you when I send you to hell. The fire dragon laughed. Qin Feiyang clenched his fists so tightly that his knuckles cracked. Haha, what a face I haven't seen in a long time. You still look the same when you're angry. The fire dragon laughed wantonly. Who? Qin Feiyang took a deep breath and turned to look at the 10 great beasts. The eyes of the 10 ferocious beasts flashed fiercely. Whoosh! At this moment, Madman and Wang Ming rushed up and landed on the mountain peak. They looked very miserable as they stared at the 10 ferocious beasts with cold eyes. Qin Feiyang looked at the 10 ferocious beasts and said in a deep voice, This is a personal grudge between me and the fire dragon. I'll give you a chance to leave immediately. Chance? Leave. The 10 ferocious beasts frowned. His arrogant tone made it seem like he had already won. I advise you to listen to my advice. Madman also spoke. The white python stared at Madman and smiled sinisterly. How dare you be so arrogant in front of us? It seems that the lesson just now wasn't enough. Murderous intent surged in Qin Feiyang's eyes. Since you're so stubborn, I'll fulfill your wish. You're courting death. The white wolf, black wolf, and silver wolf roared and pounced at Qin Feiyang in unison. You're the ones courting death. The white-eyed wolf took a step forward and stood in front of Qin Feiyang, summoning the giant golden wolf. The golden wolf raised its head and howled. It swung its millstone-sized fist and punched the silver wolf and the other 2 beasts. Do you really think you're a match for us? The 3 beasts roared and the blood mark between their eyebrows shone brightly as they charged at the giant golden wolf. With a loud bang, the giant golden wolf shattered on the spot. The white-eyed wolf spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated continuously. Are you okay? Qin Feiyang was shocked. I'm fine. It's just 3 little wolf cubs. The white-eyed wolf sneered in disdain. He turned around and rushed down the mountain peak into the forest below, shouting, Come down and accept your death. Still so arrogant? See how we'll deal with you. The 3 beasts were furious as they rushed down the mountain peak and charged at the white-eyed wolf. Come with me if you have the guts. Lunatic looked at the white python, crocodile, and Longma with a murderous look in his eyes. He also turned around and rushed down the mountain peak. Because the mountain peak was too small, they couldn't move at all since they couldn't fly. 1 against 3? How big are you? I alone am enough to kill you. The white python roared and rushed down with a murderous look. Longma glanced at the white python and said to the crocodile, That human can't be underestimated. Go and help him. Okay. The crocodile nodded and rushed down at lightning speed. In this way, only Qin Feiyang, Wang Ming, and Yang Li were left on the mountain peak. There were still Longma, Golden Rat, Snow Rabbit, Black Bear, and Black Eagle on the Temple Guardian's side. Young Master, our abilities are limited. We only need one of us to help you pin down one of them. Wang Ming glanced at the 5 beasts and said helplessly. Yang Li also looked aggrieved. It's okay. Qin Feiyong waved his hand. He understood how they felt. If there were no rules, he could kill the 10 ferocious beasts in front of him easily. After all, they were all undead stage powerhouses. But now, in the face of these ant-like ferocious beasts, they could only be beaten up? This feeling of grievance was enough to drive anyone crazy and collapse. Wang Ming pointed at Black Eagle and shouted, You come with me. You come with me too. Yang Li also pointed at Snow Rabbit. With that, the two of them rushed down the mountain peak. Hehe. Golden Rat and Snow Rabbit looked at each other and immediately fell towards Wang Ming and Yang Li. At this moment only Qin Feiyong, Longma, Black Bear, and Black Eagle were left on the mountain peak. Boom! Crack! At this moment, the battle between White-Eyed Wolf and Black Wolf, Lunatic, Fierce Crocodile, and White Python had already begun. The battle between Wang Ming and Yang Li, Golden Rat, and Snow Rabbit also began. Blood Demon Domain. Sky Vanquishing Sword Array. Dragon Slaying Array. Facing the strongest guardians, no one dared to let their guard down. They used a supreme-level killing technique as soon as they attacked. Qin Feiyong scanned the 4 battlefields. For now, the White-Eyed Wolf, Madman, and the other 2 were all fine. Looking away, Qin Feiyong looked at Longma and said, Let's begin too. Tell us the truth. This emperor truly admires your bravery. Back then, when Big Shui of the Blood Demon race came to the Forest of Gods and Devils, he took a detour. You know Big Shui's identity? He is the commander of the Blood Demon race, second only to King Yu. Even he doesn't dare to fight with us, and you dare to challenge us directly? You humans are really ignorant creatures. Longma laughed disdainfully, and the blood character mark between their eyebrows instantly glowed with divine light. Immediately after, the 3 beasts pounced toward Qin Feiyong with monstrous ferocity. Big Shui, of course I know him. But just because Big Shui is afraid of you doesn't mean I'm afraid of you too. Qin Feiyong's eyes turned cold. The Return to Ruins, Eclipse Moon, and Guiyuan Sword technique instantly appeared. After activating the Rising Dragon technique, his cultivation was already at the great perfection 9th Heaven Realm. He was invincible under the imperishable realm. The 3 supreme divine techniques shattered the sky and blasted toward the 3 beasts. Even so, Longma didn't activate their divine techniques, or use their divine artifacts. They used their physical bodies to face the 3 supreme divine techniques. Their eyes were full of contempt. It was as if in their eyes, Qin Feiyong wasn't even qualified to make them use their divine techniques and divine artifacts. You'll pay the price for being arrogant in front of me, Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong roared. The 3 divine techniques blasted onto the 3 beasts. Boom! But even so, the 3 beasts didn't retreat half a step. The blood character mark between their eyebrows emitted divine light that covered their entire body. It appeared as if he was wearing a white armor. The 3 divine arts landed on their bodies, but they did not break through the divine light barrier, nor did they cause any damage to them. Haha, the power of the mark is invincible. An ant like you will never be able to understand. He Xiong laughed. He was hundreds of feet tall and swooped down from the sky, punching toward Qin Feiyong. Qin Feiyong's eyes darkened slightly. He used the heavenly dragon's 9 steps and dodged like lightning. Boom! He Xiong's punch directly hit the square. However, the square didn't have the slightest trace of damage. The temple next to it also didn't shake in the slightest. Even the entire giant peak didn't tremble. Obviously, this temple, this giant peak, had been tempered by a peerless expert with divine power. Otherwise it wouldn't be so hard. After all, even Qin Feiyong didn't dare to take He Xiong's punch head-on. One could imagine how powerful it was. Can you dodge it? Just as Qin Feiyong dodged, He Xiong spread his wings and swept over the top of Qin Feiyong's head. 2 giant claws emitted a bone-piercing sharpness, grabbing toward Qin Feiyong's head. Longma also swooped down and attacked Qin Feiyong from the side. He Xiong's punch missed and he swung his giant fist again, attacking Qin Feiyong from the front. This was an unavoidable situation. Qin Feiyong glanced at the 3 beasts and his face was a bit gloomy. These beasts weren't terrifying. What was truly terrifying was the power of the mark. The power of the mark not only increased the strength of the three beasts, but also made their bodies almost immortal. The end ruins art, divine dragon art, sun and moon eclipse, these paragon divine arts couldn't pose a threat to them anymore, because the power of the mark had already exceeded this limit. In other words, to defeat them, only a heaven-defying divine art, a heaven-defying divine weapon or an indestructible realm cultivation could do it. But there were rules in hell and these weren't allowed. If it were anyone else, even Yi Zhong and the ancestral dragons, they could only run for their lives. No wonder the Beast Emperor didn't want to enter the divine demon forest. This was the fear of the giant beasts. However, Qin Feiyong wasn't an ordinary person. If they looked at him with ordinary eyes, it would be fatal. Chapter 2734. Guiyuan Sword Technique 9-1. 90 sword shadows appeared out of nowhere, and instantly condensed into a sword shadow that was 10,000 feet long. 9-1 was now Qin Feiyong's trump card, and its power had reached the peak of the supreme level. Clang! The sword shadow slashed at the three beasts. But in the end, it was easily blocked by the divine light shield on the three beasts. Qin Feiyong was stunned. The power of this mark was so strong that it was incomprehensible. One had to know. There were rules and restrictions in the Nether King Hell. The power of the mark could not reach the level of a divine object in the eternal realm. In other words, no matter how strong the mark was, it was only below the eternal realm and the divine object. Since it did not break this limit, why couldn't it break the divine light shield on their bodies? Boom! At the same time, the three beasts attacked. At the critical moment, Qin Feiyong indeed activated the Wisdom King's golden body. The next moment, the three beasts hit him. Even with the Wisdom King golden body, he flew out on the spot and spat out a mouthful of blood. This was a very inconceivable thing. The Wisdom King golden body could block a fatal blow of a higher realm. And now facing the three beasts, the Nether King Hell did save his life, but it also severely injured Qin Feiyong. In other words, even the Wisdom King golden body could not completely dissolve the power of the three beasts. Was the power of this mark so terrifying? They were clearly just three ordinary ferocious beasts, but they possessed heaven-defying battle prowess? Boom! With a loud bang, Qin Feiyong smashed into the mountain below. He was dizzy and his blood was surging. He had the Wisdom King golden body, but he was still seriously injured. This was hard for him to accept. I thought you were strong, but it turns out that you are just SOSO. The three beasts rushed down from the top of the mountain aggressively, and the contempt on their faces was even stronger. Qin Feiyong glanced at the three beasts, took out a divine life pill and threw it into his mouth. The majestic vitality suddenly exploded in his body, and rushed to his limbs and bones. With the healing ability of the bloodline power and the merged fire of life, his injuries were healing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Immediately after, he looked around the battlefield. The white-eyed wolf, madman, Wang Ming, and Yang Li didn't seem to be in a good situation. In particular, Wang Ming and Yang Li were already at a clear disadvantage even in a one-on-one fight. And all of this was caused by the power of the mark. The power of the mark could not only make the 10 great ferocious beasts stronger, but it also had amazing healing abilities. It was even more powerful than the blood demon race's evil moon. Looks like I'll have to reevaluate this power. This can no longer be explained by common sense, Qin Feiyong murmured. He retracted his gaze and looked at the three beasts. The three beasts were brimming with murderous intent. Divine light enveloped their entire bodies, making them look like invincible beast gods. Not a single wound could be seen on their bodies. This kind of situation was enough to make people despair. In any case, they had already exchanged a few blows. There was no need to talk too much. It was good to have a little wound. This way there was still hope. But now, not to mention a wound, not even a strand of hair fell off. If it was a weak person, their mentality would have already collapsed. Despair. You can just admit it openly. No one will laugh at you. Because against us, any living creature will die of despair. The three beasts smiled proudly. Without any fancy moves, they directly used their huge bodies to crash into Qin Feiyong. That terrifying aura, that invisible power, like the Grim Reaper, the three Reapers, it made one shudder. Despair. In this world, there are indeed people who can make me feel despair. But it's not you, Qin Feiyong murmured. The figures of Ice Dragon and the golden small beast involuntarily appeared in his mind. Every time he faced these two supreme beings, he couldn't help but feel despair. But apart from them, no one else had the ability to make him truly despair. The three great ferocious beasts in front of him were no exception. Swish! Suddenly, one by one, his clones appeared. There were a total of 300. To deal with these three great ferocious beasts, he didn't need to fully activate his 3,000 clones. 9 by 9 to 1 kill. Qin Feiyong shouted. Boom! Clang! The 300 clones immediately activated the Guiyuan sword technique, the sharp edge tearing the sky and splitting the earth. What? Young Master has already activated 3,000 clones? Wang Ming and Wang Lin's eyes trembled. It seemed that even Young Master had to use his trump card in the face of these strongest guardians. What the hell? Do you think you can reverse the situation by creating a few hundred clones? Stupid, ridiculous. The three beasts became more and more disdainful. Without the slightest pause, they crashed straight into Qin Feiyong. Clones? I hope you can keep laughing like this, Qin Feiyong murmured. Kill! The 300 clones roared angrily, and the sword shadows in the sky instantly charged toward the three beasts. 9 by 9 to 1 300 clones, a total of 300 sword shadows. 100 sword shadows charged toward the dragon and horse. 100 sword shadows charged toward the black eagle. 100 sword shadows charged toward the black bear. The three beasts were as confident as ever in the divine light shield on their bodies. Boom! Clang! But when they collided with the 300 sword shadows, the three beasts' expressions changed abruptly. The power was exactly the same. How could it be? Who didn't know that the strength of the clones would be much weaker than the original body? But why was the power of these 300 sword shadows no different from the sword shadows that Qin Feiyong had created before? Crack! A crack suddenly appeared on the divine light shield on the three beasts. The cracking sound was not loud, but when it fell into the ears of the three beasts, it was like a clap of thunder. The shield formed by the power of the mark was actually broken by these sword shadows? Was this a dream? Crack! The cracking sound kept ringing. The cracks on the shield were increasing in number and size. This scene shocked the three beasts to the extreme. A little human actually had such terrifying combat strength. Keep laughing, Qin Feiyong said expressionlessly. Crack! As his voice fell, the shield on the three beasts was completely shattered. 300 sword shadows suddenly fell on them. Roar! Chirp! Immediately, there was a wail. The bodies of the three beasts were torn apart, and flesh and blood flew everywhere. Without the power of the mark, what are you? Any random person would be able to kill you easily. Qin Feiyong shook his head, turned around and led the 300 clones to the battlefield of Madman and the others. Do you think you should have one? However, at this moment, a sinister laugh sounded. Qin Feiyong frowned and turned to look at the three beasts. He saw the blood mark between the eyebrows of the three beasts, shooting out a dazzling divine light. That divine light rushed towards the torn bodies of the three beasts. An astonishing scene immediately appeared. The flesh that had been torn apart, even if it was crushed into pieces by the sword shadows, actually quickly pieced together. Then, the bodies of the three beasts quickly healed. In just 3 breaths, the three beasts came back to life, and there were no wounds on their bodies. This is too ridiculous, Qin Feiyong murmured. They were almost shattered, but they could still be reborn and healed? How is it? Seeing us not die like this, is it more powerless and desperate? I have to admit that we have indeed underestimated your strength. But you have also greatly underestimated our strength. The real battle has only just begun. The three beasts roared, divine power surged out, and a mighty divine aura suddenly shrouded all directions. This was the prelude to activating the divine art. That's right. They didn't dare to be careless. Qin Feiyong's strength had already exceeded their expectations. If they continued to underestimate this human, they would definitely be the ones to fall in the end. Sigh. Qin Feiyong shook his head and sighed. Why are you sighing? Longma frowned. What you said is completely wrong. I didn't underestimate your strength, but the power of the mark, Qin Feiyong said. The power of the mark is our power. Is there a difference? Don't be so self-righteous, it will be your end soon. The three beasts roared. Roar. Accompanied by an earth-shaking beast roar. A huge beast shadow appeared above the black bear's head. The beast shadow was 10,000 feet tall, with its feet on the ground and its head in the sky, exuding a monstrous ferocious aura. Boom! A black sun also appeared above the black eagle's head. A vast and mighty aura surged out in all directions. Roar! Accompanied by a dragon roar. A huge dragon shadow appeared above the dragon horse's head, and a terrifying dragon aura shrouded the world. These were the three supreme-level deity arts. Tremble. Despair. The three beasts roared. The three supreme divine arts immediately shattered the void and the earth, and charged toward Qin Feiyang. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed again. Are you crazy? The black eagle said angrily. Sighing, isn't it annoying? This is the stupidest part of you. If you don't activate the divine art, you can still struggle for a while. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What does this mean? The three beasts raised their eyebrows. It means that the moment you activate the divine art, your fate has already been decided. The outcome has already been decided. I have heaven open. As Qin Feiyang's words fell, the 300 clones behind him began to activate the dragon soul. Copy. In an instant, the divine arts of the three beasts were copied, and 300 times more. This. The three beasts looked at this scene in shock. Eye of heaven? Could this be one of the 10 heaven-defying divine souls in the teleportation? What is the origin of this human being? He actually has such a heaven-defying battle soul. Destroy and despair. Qin Feiyang said. The divine arts that filled the sky suddenly blasted out. Facing more than 300 times the number, the divine arts of the three beasts were shattered on the spot without any suspense. Puff! The three beasts spat out blood. Looking at the densely packed divine arts, their eyes were full of horror. Between their eyebrows, the blood-word imprint bloomed with dazzling light, and a divine light shield enveloped their entire body. At this moment they truly experienced despair. Their hearts were trembling, and their souls were in fear. The aura of death descended, but the divine light shield did not help, because no matter how powerful something is, there is a limit. Once this limit is broken, it will be unstoppable. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.